guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Oh, I thought we were live.
Now, yeah.
Come on, put on your Anon mask. Be professional.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. We're live again with a special. This time, it's going to be mostly about the COVID-19 thing again, but we also have some updates about the Assange case and a lot of stories about the surveillance programs that they're now starting up. In the EU, it's starting with apps, like specific apps developed. They're very intrusive. So there's a lot of stuff to mention again. And welcome back, everyone. Please help to share this episode because we are still facing shadow bans. You guys have seen the Anon's Worldwide account. It's still restricted. We don't even know why anymore. Managed to get some backup accounts, but we still need all of you guys to help share, and thanks for that.
And now it's more important than ever before, when we have to constantly fight an uphill battle against misinformation. And I mean, you guys see the world that we live in right now. So for the people that are doing independent journalism, that are spreading the truth, we have to use the power of social media. We have to use that share button. It's as easy as it sounds, right? That's that one share that informs that one more person.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, guys. Maybe we should start with the COVID thing again.
Well, they're all, I mean, some of the surveillance, if you guys don't notice, the U.S. has already switched over to 100% surveillance of anyone with a cell phone to, and I'm quoting here, track coronavirus. Right? For national security, right? They are monitoring everybody's cell phone video, or everybody's cell phone movements, and who you're around, who you associate. And their reasoning for this is to stop the spread, or to view the spread of coronavirus, but they're not even hiding the fact that they're tracking you 24/7. Right, when it was the administration doing, they didn't make a big, an emergency or some reason. They just started monitoring you, which was illegal. The NSA spying program. Now they said, oh well, because of coronavirus, we're just going to use that same program, and you guys will be happy about it.
Yeah. So in France, the French government, I just received this today actually from one of the cyber guerrilla guys. And he said the French government is now like setting up a GPS and an FOFDM system, which is also known as 5G, triangulation tracking system for people with COVID-19. And they are like protesting against it now. And he forwarded this to the EFF and other parties too. So that's a GPS plus 5G triangulation tracking system for COVID-19 people in France.
Yeah. For COVID-19. I mean, it is interesting that like the same things that they do, that they push on us every single. Doesn't matter what the emergency is. The emergency is terrorism. The emergency is extremism. The emergency is this. The emergency is that. But at the end of the day, they just want your rights. It's the same thing, right? To track where everybody goes and to hang out with.
Right now, Americans don't have rights. You know where I'm living. I heard Friday. Our facility is out of masks. We've been asking around. We were finally able to get some from. I'm not going to say what source, but we were able to get some through back end deal. Not too proud of it, but come Friday, if you're in the Los Angeles County area, city of Carson, or any of the fucking cities that are in the Los Angeles County, if you're not wearing a mask or you're caught without a mask, you will be fined $1,000. Uh, that's brand new. All essential workers are supposed to be wearing, for the Department of Public Health, are told to wear masks, and I understand the legitimacy of doing that. I don't understand the whole fining system, and I've said this before when I was talking to my dad. It's fine and dandy to have a law, but it should just be a warning, and then get off. But it's just another way for the counties just to make some extra fucking money by fining people $1,000 if they're not caught without a mask. Masks are mandatory as of Friday morning, which will be at 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12:01. I don't know of any law enforcement agencies that is their first priority in Los Angeles right now. We're dealing with street parties and people acting fucking nuts. I didn't realize what was going on, but apparently, people aren't really in some parts of the city aren't obeying the stay-at-home orders and having drag racing parties and all sorts of shit. But it's not widespread. It's only in kind of like pockets here and there. People are not going to the state parks, but they're going down to the private trails. And I was told from some friends that a lot of these guys are just dropping fucking trash in places that there normally wasn't trash, destroying places. And I'm kind of seeing a social breakdown. I'm hearing. I don't even want to spread rumors, but there are people talking about possible riots at the end of the month or the next month when people can't pay their rent. So the county of Los Angeles said that they had some sort of fund that they were going to have. They're going to give $1,000 to like 1,000 people to help pay the rent for the month after April. They're working on it, but Los Angeles has about 10 million people living in the county. So how does helping 1,000 people help anybody? Really, it's kind of like a pish posh move to even speak of such things when they know they can't really help anybody.
And how do they select these 1,000 people then?
Exactly, nobody knows. So shit's kind of falling apart. Like I said, the workers were going to go on strike. They did in certain parts of California. I didn't really hear about it till I saw Vice reporting on it, and that was through a rumor through a friend who works in that industry. What they were wanting $3 more an hour plus for hazard pay and guarantee of health benefits, which really wasn't much. So the rumors that I have been hearing have been coming to really put into reality. They're not just like out in the wall rumors. These are kind of informed rumors, but in 20 years ago, all it took was one guy getting beat up to start a riot in the whole city. So it really doesn't take much for the city to pop off, or any big large city.
Okay. Sad actually.
Yeah.
There's the update from California. Sounds like things are going smashingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys have been in a 24-hour lockdown for a while. Like, where I'm at, the lockdown is really not being enforced all that much. Like, just like everything's open, people are driving around. Like, it's much less than normal, but it's still, there's still lots and lots of people out. Like, what they've counted as essential businesses is pretty much everything.
Yeah, that's been the here. At first, when they had the initial essential, a lot of people closed their doors for about 2 weeks because they weren't sure. But it was like almost everything as an essential worker, according to my director of operations. But obviously, a lot of retail stores, if they don't sell everything, they are shut down. Like food and hygiene products and whatever. So like Targets are open, WalMarts are open, a lot of the other places are open, but like Nordstrom's is closed. Macy's closed, shit like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Well, we do have. Well, in some way, we do have like the virus under control now here. Uh, but like you can compare my country to like one American city, right? So it's like nothing big, but we have this big mask shortage still, and at the end of the month, only then we are able to produce 1 million masks a day ourselves for our country, because they no longer want to rely on import. So they like started their own production now here in the Netherlands, and they will produce masks for our own country. And they say it's going to be 1 million masks daily, starting at the end of April. And for now, there are like mask shortages everywhere because yeah.
Yeah, we have mask shortages here. Like we couldn't go through the proper channels to get it, and I'm not gonna get those, but
Well,
it's hard to get masks.
we got 700,000 masks from China, for example, but then we refused them. We sent them back because they were of inferior quality, said our health minister. I was thinking like, yeah, but even if they don't live up to like the max standards, you can still provide them to like the less risky jobs. But yeah, apparently they don't want that. They send
every
everything back.
single every single nurse that's talked to us, that's written us, that we're trying to get, PPE for, and all of that is saying the same thing, that like all of apply. Oh, mask, gloves, the
Oh,
word.
we ran out yesterday, so we were lucky to have what had happened to get more, but that's only going to last a week.
Yeah.
And when they put out some of these numbers, they put them out like they're huge numbers, and not that there's 7 billion people. And well, we've got 900. We've got 9 million masks coming. There's 7 billion people in the world.
Okay, well, you're lucky in the USA. You do have a lot of IC capacity, but I'm thinking like it's going to make like a huge difference per state, I think, and you need distribution between states, and if that's not going to work, then uh, you got some
And
big
this has been
troubles.
we're now up to like, the Fed just gave Wall Street another $3.5 trillion. We're now up to something like $7 or $8 trillion, and all we had to do was build a factory to mass produce PPE and ventilators. That's all we had to do. And now we spent almost, like I said, $7-8 trillion, and the virus hasn't slowed down. Nothing has changed. They haven't started mass producing anything. Nothing has changed whatsoever, and we have spent 7 trillion. And all we had to do was get a factory and mass produce PPE, face masks, face shields, those gowns, and the ventilators. That's it.
Yeah.
Like this, it had months and months and months to do it now.
I don't
And
know. The official narrative is that they're trying to say that they have that we're at the peak and that the numbers are going down. It's not true. They're lying to you.
this, you
They're
you could
they're trying to keep the population calm because they're either trying to do one of two things. They're trying to get us to try and go back to work, or who knows. But I know it's to try and keep.
I mean, the only reason it worked in Europe is as soon as it hit, right, they locked everything down. And we're the only country that's not willing to do that.
Yeah. Well, looking at the raw numbers, I see for the US, I see IC beds. This is pre-crisis. I don't know what they have now, but pre-crisis they had 55,663 IC beds for a surgical level. You have 15,000 for cardiac, and you have like a few thousand others. So you're talking about 70,000 IC beds. I'm looking at the cases now, and it says there are about 10,000 critical. So that means in raw numbers, you have 1 in 7 of all beds now being occupied in the U.S.
And that's just with coronavirus, right? All the diseases that people have, all the other health issues that people have, those didn't just go away the moment that there was an outbreak. You know, besides car accidents, right? Everything else is still in full swing. So if you were going to have a heart attack on Friday, you're still going to have a heart attack on Friday.
Yeah, so let's just say you can double those numbers, I guess. Just like make like a raw guess, double those numbers, and they say that 20,000 out of 70,000 beds are occupied. So you have room for 50,000 more. But you already have a total case numbers of 486,000, and you don't know how many of those become critical in the end, because they say like 1 in 10 becomes critical in the end. Like,
and the
yeah,
number missing, you know, anywhere from 300,000 to 1 million people that have coronavirus that we don't even know about.
Yeah, true.
And they make this big deal out of the testing. Oh, we just tested 100,000 people. And that's true. But the moment that they take that test out, right, they could get coronavirus. Right? If you go into somewhere, you get a test, and you go to you go anywhere else, you touch anything else, you do anything else, you could have coronavirus in that test, although it's important to know at that very moment, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you won't have it right after. If you went into somewhere to get it, like let's say you went into a hospital, right? You went in, got your test, you were all good. If you touched, the door that has coronavirus on the way out, right, that test really meant nothing. Yeah, you've now got the virus, and people are leaving these places, and they act like somehow getting the test and not having it immediately makes them somehow immune, or they're acting like it's like inoculating them. So like people are getting the coronavirus test and then acting like they're fucking bulletproof. And
we don't know if the infected can get reinfected. We don't know.
Well, I mean, is some of this, and I don't know about you guys, but does the I don't know part doesn't that sound like the stuff that we already said at Wuhan? Like I saw the big stories everywhere, coronavirus possibly airborne. Well, we already figured that out once in Wuhan. It's definitely airborne. Like that's not debatable. Why are you acting like you're rediscovering it all of a sudden? Same with like that it can spread through fecal matter. This is not breaking news. We've known that for 3 months now. Known that it's airborne for 3 months. Known the deal with the mask for 3 months. Known that you can't clean masks for 3 months. Remember when China, when they were running super low on PPE, they made up those stories that you could use the boilers and you had to heat them up to a certain mic and all of that. And all they really did was kind of give the nurses and doctors a false sense of security when they were fighting coronavirus. But we've already done this once already.
Yeah.
Like, I remember posting those stories.
Yeah, no, it's all true. This is like, they're like acting they don't know, but they already know it. I mean, like, German research and other research already said, like, yeah, it spreads by droplets, but when someone like coughs or sneezes, we can like measure the virus in the air for like 3 hours later. So if you have like a wind, if you have like a wind like going like 50 miles an hour, right, and then after 3 hours it's already spread 150 miles. So
yeah, and we posted like 3D animations and like videos where people had like dust in the room, and I mean we this has already been like discussed and found to be true, and now they're going to act like, oh my god, it's airborne? We didn't know. How did you not know?
yeah, and that's the same story everywhere, by the way. That's not just the USA. All the countries are doing the same thing for some reason. Only China was like doing like the mass quarantines and like cleaning all the roads and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, and now they're just we're having the mask argument. Right? Remember when it was like a huge deal? What was that? 2 months ago when the WHO director came out with a mask on, and like we ended that, showed you how to put it on, like all of that stuff, explained all of it, and now we're doing the whole thing over again. Like we didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, and now because of the mask shortage, they're saying like, yeah, give the sick people the masks because they are supposed to be a minority. So then you have to use less masks. Like, yeah,
And like the excuse is, well, it's not. They're not 100%. Nothing is 100%. Nothing is 100%. So any chance, every benefit that you can give yourself, then use it. Washing your hands isn't 100%, but it helps, right? Wearing the PPE isn't 100%, but it helps. Wearing the mask isn't 100%, but it helps. Like having an N1 mask is better than having an N0 mask. Of course, you want an N95 mask, but that's just not an option for most people right now. Because in 3 months, the most powerful, like, economic industrial country in the world cannot figure out how to print fucking face masks.
yeah. You should be able to create your own production like in no time in the US. You have all the capacity to do it, and that's weird to me, that part.
Not only that we have the capacity, we've got the machines, we've got the empty buildings from when the car, the auto industry crash, right? We've got huge production factories just sitting there ready to go. And all these billionaires in the world, all these multi-millionaire senators, all of these assholes never figured out, hey, let's just buy a factory and start making PPE. That should fix it. And we're now up to $8 trillion. Still have not bought a factory. Still are not 3D printing face masks. Still not making ventilator parts. I know. Let's give more money to Wall Street. That'll fix it. Should we make more? Should we just buy a huge, aircraft hangar and start making PPE? No. Let's pay off the airline companies.
Yeah, why spend millions on something that makes sense when you can blow trillions on complete nonsense and keep rich guys with plenty of cocaine?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's
come on.
I mean, we're up at $10 trillion. Is that going to be enough? At that point, will somebody just open a fucking factory and start making face masks?
That's all Taiwan did. They spent I don't know. It was in the billions, but they went from like 3 or 4 lines to like 60 for their own population. Problem solved.
Yeah, if I told you I was working on a new weapon, kill millions of people, right? They would give me all the money I asked for, or all the resources I need, a facility, anything you need. If I say, hey, I just need to make fast face masks to help a million people, right? They just don't understand how to do that.
So it seems the US company Moderna is making so-called vaccines, mRNA vaccines. And I saw in a video that they already provided some vaccines to healthcare professionals. I'm not sure what to think about that because it's not supposed to be done at all, right? But they are like way advanced on vaccines. But so I was looking in this company and into this company, and I was looking at like who are the shareholders of these companies, right? So when I saw the number one shareholder was Vanguard, which is the favorite investment asset for Warren Buffett.
I'm familiar, very familiar with Vanguard.
Yeah, Warren Buffett invests in that, and that is like the best friend of Bill Gates. Just thinking about that. And you have BlackRock being the number 2. Then you have some other big ones, but I know BlackRock does manages a lot of investments now for the U.S. government, right? For the Trump.
Yeah, I mean to do out of all of this is to convince rich people that they're not going to make money off of misery. That's going to be the hardest part, because if they do have a vaccine, they could have given it away to the world and saved millions of lives. But we've got, copyright, and how are we going to keep this to make the right amount of money, and play so many games with it. It's going to end up fucking us in the end.
Yeah, well, the U.S. government has been very aggressive. To be fair, they have been fighting hard for like the U.S. population to actually have priority access to vaccines instead of the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's not work. That's not how pandemics work. That's not how diseases work. Like, They tried that same thing with HIV. They tried to, it's just gonna affect those people over there, and we'll be safe for this reason or that reason or whatever, and it never works out that way. That's not how biologicals work. You're not going to be able to contain it and make a little bit of money off of it. Sure, your companies get to produce. That's not going to work. You're just going to end up getting millions of people sick and dying in the hopes of being able to make a little bit of money.
Well, this whole bioweapon, that story don't even make sense either. If this is a bioweapon, it's like the shittiest bioweapon ever. It doesn't kill anybody. It's not knocking enough people out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
There's, I've been under the impression we would never know if it was or wasn't a bioweapon. Like, we would never know. Nobody is ever going to admit to that any more than Lyme disease, totally a bioweapon, totally created by the U.S. government. You can never get a U.S. official to ever admit to it, right? And there's so many people that have died now, whether the U.S. made it, whether China made it, no one is going to admit to it. So I think it's kind of like a moot point, being that until the people that made it die, right, we'll never know.
If it's a bioweapon, it doesn't have to be about mass killing either. It obviously is effective in having entire states closed down. So
yeah, I mean, if it didn't break out the way that it wanted to, because you saw Mike Pompeo and all make some moves about, that they were trying to fight terrorism in Iran and blah, 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 blah. They tried to spin that in the very beginning when it was really hitting Iran hard. And that made it look a lot more like a... Now, again, you can't control bioweapons. They think they can. They think they control all parts of nature. They don't, right? But even if it wasn't designed as a bioweapon, it's just a natural occurrence, they would use it to their benefit the same way that you normally... Oh, no, don't do anything don't start the research. Let's just see how this plays out in Iran. I got that oil contract I need to go through. Right, let's just see how this plays out in China. Right, we want to make sure that we keep our interest in the China Sea.
Yeah, so this is an important thing to mention, that the fact that they are using it for their own benefit doesn't necessarily have to be proof for it to be a bioweapon at the start. They can be opportunists, and they see it and they see like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity to do this and this, and we will use it. Because I've seen that a lot too, and that people are using those facts to somehow like prove, we're all in on this from the start. But that doesn't have to be necessarily like that. They're opportunists, of course. They see it and they use it.
They created it in a lab themselves to try to take advantage of it, and because of it, even now we know that it's not even we have proof now that our intelligence agencies knew about what was going on in Wuhan. But all of that aside, right, that the NSA, the CIA, right, all these, clandestine groups, they've got spies all over the world, and they've got satellites circling the Earth all the time. They knew 100% what was going on for real in Wuhan. Their spies were telling them, right, their spy drones and satellites were telling them. They knew exactly what was going on there, and you can't tell me that those agencies didn't. The NSA listened to every single phone call on the planet, and they didn't know the truth about Wuhan? Bullshit.
Yeah, when you hear the president say that, it's just nonsense, that they didn't know. I mean, if they didn't, then we're wasting a lot of money, billions, on an intelligence service that didn't work.
Yeah, that we could see what's happening in front of our eyes, right? So we know, and look, they're watching us, so we know they knew about it.
Well, they should, because if it was the other way around, the Chinese would know.
I mean, even if they are burning, in these big fires, they're burning a bunch of bodies, they would be able to count every body that goes in there.
Oh, they don't want to. And I mean, we've seen, verified videos of them moving the night. We've seen them, trying to secretly burn the bodies to keep the numbers down. But that's even believing that the outbreak has somehow stopped in China and hasn't stopped anywhere else in the world. Nowhere else. Nowhere else. The only place on the planet that has 0 infections and 0 spread, right, is China. One of the biggest countries on the planet.
There's Georgia, Turkmenistan, and Tajikistan. They still have dictators, so they're reporting 0, but we all know they have cases though in former Soviet countries.
Of course.
Yeah, that's just not believable.
North Korea saying that.
tell you that all infections in New York have stopped. Right? That's just not true. And you'd be
Well,
crazy to
you
believe.
have. Well, you got to remember the post-Soviet countries with dictators. In Turkmenistan, their dictator, or whatever they want to call him, illegalized the word COVID. You get arrested if you wear a mask. You get arrested if you talk about it. So,
Yeah, but that doesn't stupid. Just because you're a authoritarian dictator that's willing to put millions of your lives at risk doesn't mean I don't see it. I don't like I don't live in Russia. Fuck all of that.
Russia.
Right?
Russia.
Look, if that's the case, then that is the case. I mean, we can see with our own eyes. There is no way that the only place on the planet that the spread stopped was in China. Not even the places that have it under control are saying. Like a little bit too far. We would have, people would have been willing to buy that you had, that you were on the other side of the curve, that it was, slowing down. Not that, oh, one day it's the first and biggest outbreak, and the next day absolutely nothing. Nobody believes.
No, and that's where some governments are failing. Like you're saying, they would have believed it if it wasn't like so far. Yeah, it's so it's too much. It can't be zero.
Yeah, it's
Right.
Well, I mean, in that part of the world, it's like different. It's, dictators basically, whatever the dictator says, that's the official. And if you talk otherwise, you just end up in a body bag. That's part of the world.
Yeah. The thing is, China is
You know what I
like
heard? You
so-
know what I heard? I heard in North Korea, you know how they say they have no cases, but they asked Russia for supplies. Russia gave them supplies. Well, I heard from some random place is that if you were found to be sick in North Korea, they just kill you.
Yeah, of course.
well, at a certain point, all of the countries that are, at this constant war with each other will start lying about their numbers. And I'm not running the conspiracy theory game. I'm just saying that at a certain point, for security, for what the country's interests are, right? You have to look strong for this reason, for that reason. America can't say that their numbers at a certain point are so big in an outbreak, because that makes them look weak in front of North Korea. North Korea will do the exact same thing. So will China, so will Russia. All of these countries that have these weird interests all over the world and need, the constant war and all of that stuff, have to keep that up. And to do that, they have to.
I don't understand what the narrative. I'm looking right now at the stats. The death rate went up to 6% worldwide. America had 33,675 new cases. They had the same as yesterday. Yesterday they had 2,100 deaths. Today they had 1,899 official count. I think there's an error rate of 3 to 5, maybe even 10%. So I don't know why the official narrative that they're trying to push is that everything's becoming more stable and that the peak is over. If you do the numbers, there's 350 million people. Only 465,000 that we know of have been infected. That's not even 1% at this point. So
world. Like, we're freaking out, and our system is at the brink of collapse. This fictitious system, the one that's oppressing us. I don't know why we're fighting so hard to keep it up, but they are, right? But this system is on the brink of collapse, right? And we're only at a couple million cases, right? Even with the actual numbers, we're only at 10 million cases. There are 7 billion people in the world.
Hold on, I'm finding another country that's not Hold on.
You got competing. Here's the problem government has. They want to spread a pandemic. Everybody needs to be scared. But at the same time, you can't look like you're going to it can't get too big, because then you look like you're getting out of control. So they're self-controlling with their own nonsense. So at some point, they have to cut it off and make it look like they're in control, which blows the whole story. That's why this is all nonsense.
Neither is Djibouti or Eritrea, whatever fucking country that is.
No cases?
I don't know. I mean, in that part of the world.
New Zealand has only had 1 death.
Yeah.
Is the only, is the only in the time that they've had it. They've got, normal infection rate. But they've only had one death. Now, you guys have to remember, Wuhan, right, fluctuated from 5 to 17% death rate. At its peak, it was 17%. I don't know, does anybody put the death rate in?
Iran reported 0 cases today.
What's that?
Iran 0 cases today.
Hmm. No.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, I've got drone footage here of New York workers burying bodies in a mass grave on Hart Island, just off the coast of the Bronx.
Yeah, I also
Yeah, I
read that
heard
for New
about that,
York,
but
there are so many deaths that they want to bury people in a park right now.
Yeah,
They're
but I heard the
burying
same thing.
a mass grave.
Incredible. Show some respect to your people, man. Like,
It's just,
graves.
as they're telling us, well, we're on the other side of it. Then why are you burying people in a mass grave? Like, you're lying to my face.
They're acting like this is like the plague or something.
Well, I mean,
Well, yeah,
it
so
is
you,
a plague.
yeah, so you can burn them. I mean,
Yeah,
it makes sense in a way, but I mean, come on, the crematoriums can't be that loaded up yet. This is kind of regular numbers anyway. What's the problem?
What happened to these plastic FEMA coffins? Did you suddenly lose them or something?
yeah, but it's mind blowing because as we're big at dealing, as we're digging mass graves and we're doing this, and all you had to do was make ventilators. That's all you had to do.
You're not an elite criminal in the CFR. You just don't understand how to make money like they do. You have to learn to fuck people over real bad.
I just that's the deal. Like, how can you expect, or in this, like what we're looking at now, demand to make money off of something this terrible, off of a plague? Oh, I'm a billionaire. We're losing profit, dude. Like, that is really not the worst thing that's happening right now.
Yeah. Okay, well, at least making money on vaccines, that seems a positive thing. That they're pushing like these vaccine companies to like do it or lose everything again. But yeah, in other ways it is like pretty sadistic to make money on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take Russia or China or one of the countries in Europe to come up with a vaccine and give it to the world, because America won't do it. We see dollar signs and death.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
vaccine will be
Bill
pretty-
Gates is just salivating here. I mean, he did some interview here the other day where he was all but telling you can't come out of your home until the vaccine's ready. I mean, this guy's out there, man.
Oh yeah. So this is what I wanted to say. I forgot about it, and that is that. That Trump, the American government has been very aggressively trying to buy over vaccine companies in the world, including in Germany, CureVac, and they seem pretty far ahead on a vaccine. And American government tried to like buy the entire company in a super aggressive way, and so they invited the CEO of the company to the White House. This happened like 10 days or so, something before they tried to buy it, and they pretty much they manipulated him into agreeing, and but then the Germans said like, no, this is not going to happen. So they fired their CEO, and the original founder took control over the company, and they are now working with the German government to provide them for the entire world and not just for Americans, right?
Yeah, that was a bad move. Just culturally, I think you would have been hard up to find a German scientist willing to fuck over the German people.
Yeah, well, exactly. That is a very bad move. Like shows very a little understanding of history from that government.
Yeah, I just don't think that showed a real great understanding of the German culture. I think that was a bad move. Like, if they weren't going to give it away for free, you definitely are, force them to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty sad actually. Yeah. So
Yeah, and not say, to not offer, if these scientists are close to a vaccine or close to a cure or any of that, to not say that, look, our best facilities are open to you guys. Whatever you got to do, make it happen.
yeah. Yeah, I think like if a vaccine is created, it should be open source, right? And no longer patented. Like just like the genetic code, like with SARS and other diseases, it's usually like patented genetic code, but with this virus, the Chinese actually did a good job uploading the entire genome and everything. It was open source. It was very different. I think the vaccine should be open source too, like white label.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And when it comes to things like vaccines, I would love to hear the reasoning why it's not, available to the people. I'd love to hear the reason.
Yeah.
And then you look at all these clowns you get paraded. You even got like Kissinger and Gorbachev coming out, saying it's like a new world order, and we have to have a new world order to take care of this pandemic. I mean, the nonsense that's getting spewed is so ridiculous from these politicians, man.
Oh yeah, they've all got the same, this is going to bring them power. This is, like I said, you should always be extremely wary of people that are excited about this pandemic. How are they going to benefit from it? What can I get for it? Am I going to get elected? Everybody's trying to take, to profit off of this like misery. And it's getting us like dug farther and farther into this hole that we can't get back out of. Like, they make all of these plans as if our nurses haven't been working nonstop for almost a month and a half now. They can't do that forever. They make plans like our National Guard can't get sick, even though there's outbreaks at every major military base. Right? They're making these plans with, for things that can't work once the virus. You're working on scientists and on that's great, as long as they don't get sick. You can test people as long as you're testing people don't get sick. Once they're sick, that game is over. But we made all of our plans in just all of the wrong places and done none of the things that would have actually helped. Put everybody, if we need a lockdown for 2 weeks, get the PPE you need and move on. Done. But we're going to stink ourselves, or they're just like fleecing us for them, every penny they can. They gotta bring the US total down to zero so that the people have absolutely nothing, and then they fuck off in their yachts, hide in the Cayman Islands, and move on.
Oh, I forgot the other quote from Gates was, you can't leave your home until you get the vaccine. That was the other great quote. Permanent lockdown until permanent medical lockdown.
Until you get the vaccine.
Right. We have twist your arm here.
Let me guess, you're going to charge me for this vaccine as well, right?
Yeah, the debate's over. He's already made the decision. You're the slave. I mean, come on. Play along.
As soon as Biden sent people to the polls in the middle of a pandemic, that showed you how much the Democratic Party cares about its constituents. Are you willing to die for the Democratic Party? Because that's what they're asking you to do. That's what they asked you to do, no doubt. It's like, it's not even like made up or some story. That's what they asked you to do. Go to a group, everything that they're telling you. Stay out of large groups, right? Don't touch common items, all of that stuff. All of that. Completely ignore it. Feel free to spread the virus throughout your people so that Joe Biden can get elected.
Okay, I've got someone replying with our show. He posts a video of a Japanese airborne testing. For listeners, you can find that video after the show. It's called Coronavirus: New Facts About Infection Mechanisms. So that video pretty much shows how the whole airborne thing works, and the professor, I was looking at it real quick, and the professor is saying if the air isn't flowing, the droplets won't move. So if someone sneezes or coughs, if there is no like active wind or whatever, the particles stay in the same place. They literally stay in the air for an indefinite time. And it also shows that the distancing we're keeping, which is like 1.5 meters here, which is 2 meters in the UK, is like it's not enough. It is like it goes way further than that. That is about 6 feet, I think, is our distancing. And it shows all kind of testing they're doing on the airborne thing. They're doing it pretty advanced, and the video is called Coronavirus: New Facts About Infection Mechanisms, and it's from NHK documentary, Japanese professors.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing again, this has been already like debated and went over in the scientific community 3 months ago. Like, I didn't even, until I saw, I think it was on one of the big news agencies' pages, until I saw the story, I think yesterday, is coronavirus airborne, right? I thought this was already like the argument was over on it. This had already been confirmed. Coronavirus is airborne. Like, why are we going over the same thing again as if we didn't already find this out? And as people are posting like the scientific videos that people have seen and the research that people have seen, this isn't new information. I mean, to many people it is, but it shouldn't be, right?
Well, it's just how far most of these people are behind the curve, man. I mean, you're talking about a lot of low IQ folks out there.
Well, I mean, even the debate had I think they were arguing over who had not given handshakes, and the whole Bloomberg debacle and all of that crap was going on while coronavirus was in the middle of an outbreak. Any of these leaders could have actually stood up and fucking spoke. Now they all act like they had been talking about this from the beginning, but trust me, every single one of them ignored us.
Yeah, they did. And all these little advices, they do help a bit, of course, like the not handshaking and keeping like distance and stuff, but they are way underestimating it. And I understand that it is also like not to create like panics and these things, because if you tell the entire truth, people are going to panic, like, because it is a lot worse.
Will they? Because that's exactly what Taiwan did. They came out, they were completely honest with their people, right? They focused on getting PPE and getting the medical equipment that they needed. They played no games. They had no interest in the world. They didn't give a fuck about any of this. They didn't make huge bailouts to the wealthy in their country, right? They just handled coronavirus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, that's true. Like, now, if you tell the whole story and actually that people understand how bad it is, that just say like, okay, we're not going to shoot you if you go to the streets, but you better stay at home now voluntarily if you want to survive this, right? And then you just go home and you do this. Like, yeah.
Yeah, this is the truth. This is how it's spread. But when you've got, all sides of the equation are lying to you in different ways for different, right? So everybody is already under the impression that they can't trust what's right in front of them. But at the same time, they want to trust their leadership. They want to feel safe. They want to feel like somebody has it under control. So as soon as that is proven to be fake, right, it has 1,000 times worse of an effect. People go nuts because now they have a fear that there was nobody driving this ship. I was being lied to the entire time. So my thing is, it may be a little bit difficult. I think people really do take the information, if you don't lie to them, as much better than they take the lies way after the fact. And in trying to lie, you make things worse, right? Now we got 300,000 people wandering around the U.S. with coronavirus. If you hadn't lied, that wouldn't be the case. And it doesn't have to, we're not just talking about the numbers. Rather than put money into just buying a factory and making the things that you needed, right? You had to lie to move a whole bunch of money to the rich and right? So I think that the lying to it really in the end makes it like in anything that has to do with lies, right? Whether it's a big lie, a little lie, whether it's the government or yourself, right? It always snowballs into something bigger. It was always better to tell the truth right off the bat.
Yeah, well, it's the worst case scenario for your government is if your people lose trust in you during a crisis. Like, it's very bad.
And that's exactly what's happening here. Every time they come out and lie, right, they make things a little bit worse, not a little bit better. Especially when it's things that you can see with your own eyes. Like, people can go down their social media, Facebook and Twitter, and you can count, right? My uncle died, my cousin died, my son died, my wife died, over and over. Count them up. Then go to the official number. How come those don't match?
Yeah.
How come I can count 5 friends on Facebook, right, that have just lost somebody to coronavirus, and you can go through, it's not like it's out of nowhere, you go through their page and see, hey, my mom the hospital to get checked out, hey, my mom has, virus, right, they're going into the hospital. You can watch every step of the way, but then when I go to the numbers, you tell me, 10, but I can see 50 people right now.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's always a healthy distrust in the government, and governments understand this too. I mean, I'm not even talking about like the corrupt elite, right? Everyone knows the corrupt elite, the murderous elite, and these high-level pedophiles and all these people. But I'm talking about like the institute of government, where all these just like government employees work, right, like in your local town and all these things. There's like they're just doing their job, but uh, people have a healthy distrust in them. But at the point that none of the information they give can be trusted anymore, then you're dealing with like a huge problem. Seriously.
And I think that's where we're out. They had a little bit of I think they had a little bit of an advantage when corporate media was still running. But now that that's over and all of their newscasters are just live streaming, except they're live streaming just like we do, but without any of the information, right? They can't have a real intelligent conversation live things off a teleprompter. And now that that whole curtain has come back and you see like Chris Como and I'm sitting in their basement, just normal people saying stupid shit, it's taken that whole aura of truth and respectability away from the corporate media. And now you just see them as liars. Right, you're just a dude in your base live streaming live. And that's not just him. That's that's talking about the corporate media system, whether it's CNN or NBC or Fox News. They're all the same. They're all lying to you about something different, but they're all lying to you. And now you see them, celebrities as well. They don't have people do their makeup and their hair. They don't have a stylist. They don't have somebody to write their lines. They don't have somebody to cut their video. They don't have somebody edit it and put filters over it. And when you see them just talking into their screen, you're like, wow, that's just a normal person, and they're kind of a dumb fuck.
Yeah, they're already like starting to manipulate public opinion. Like they're now saying like, yeah, this could go on much longer, and yeah, I kind of like it like this. Is what they say, and they also say like, this could become the new normal. We hear this everywhere now in all countries. We hear this in my country, in Europe. We hear this too. That politicians and celebrities are saying this could be the new normal, like the whole distancing society and like staying home and like that fact that they call it the new normal. That is already manipulating because it's not normal.
It's not normal, and we have the power, we have the technology, right? We have the science to fix this. It's not just coronavirus. When you ask yourself, is there running around, oh, we need a vaccine for coronavirus. Can I just get a vaccine for all viruses? Why waste our time?
Yeah.
And if you're planning, it's a numbers thing, right? You just handed out $7 trillion. You give me $1 trillion, I'll find a cure to fucking anything.
Yeah, but it's like the pretend, like saying the new normal, like you're like acting, you're like putting this feeling in people's minds that this is normal, that this is like, no, this is never normal. We're inside like a crisis, in like a pandemic or whatever. Like, yeah.
Well, it's normal to a psychopath. You just don't get it. You just don't see the genius behind their psychopathic mind.
And they will roll back some of it. You'll be able to go outside and all of that stuff. But when they say new normal, what I hear is the tracking of your phone is the new normal. Tracking who you're hanging around with is the new normal. The powers that the government has to take you and your family, isolate you, do whatever they want to you, that is the new normal, right? What I don't see, the going outside part, that they'll roll back and everybody will be so happy that they're outside again, they'll forget that you can no longer organize to fight the things that you were fighting before because they're tracking all of your phones. And make no mistake, they will show up to your house. They will show up armed and you will disappear. Right? Ask Red Fawn. Right? Ask Julian Assange.
Yeah, new normal. You sit in jail with no charges.
Yeah, they're letting pedophiles around the world, right? People that have raped small children, thousands and thousands of them, and yet people that had had a little bit of weed in their pocket. Julian Assange, Red Fawn, right? Fucking Leonard Pierre, right? They get to rot in prison so that they can get coronavirus and die. It's bullshit. But the new normal that they're talking about is the police state you were warned about.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it.
Well, they have to call it something, and well, that's fairly clever. I mean, you think of the people they're actually talking to, the usual sheeple. That, oh, okay, well, they feel safe. Hey, this is the new normal. I'm still alive. Yeah, I have to do this crazy shit, and I don't like it, but I feel safe.
Yeah. I don't understand how you would. When you look around and see this like clusterfuck that they're calling a response, it's hard to feel like these guys have it under control. You do not have it under control.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about that whole thing, that when they said the new normal, I was thinking about an old interview with like a KGB agent I saw on YouTube, and he actually said it at the end, like, first you have this whole crisis thing, induced crisis thing, and at the end you have a process called normalization, where we normalize the situation and we make this the new normal, with the new rules and everything. There is this whole interview about it. I'll find it later. And that was a KGB guy who was used to this propaganda way tactic under the Soviets. They used to do this too. And
well, and we won't take any good advice from another country, but when it comes to the evil shit, when it comes to the bad shit, that's the first stuff that we adopt. So that doesn't surprise me that, the KGB came up with it. If it's truly, but there is no real difference between Russia and America, right? Still ran by the corporate elite, right? Still ran by the rich and powerful. The poor still getting fucked over and out, right? They're still trying to oppress their people. There's still an authoritarian government, right? Go out and try to protest. The riot cops that'll beat the fuck out of you and throw you in a hole in Russia look exactly like the ones in France, look exactly like the ones in Detroit, look exactly like the ones in South America, right? Look exactly like the ones in Hong Kong. Unless there's a subtitle, you can't tell the fucking difference. You don't even know where it was.
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, nothing actually changed on that. They're thinking about a different monetary policy and suddenly having the illusion that your rights are less restricted or whatever. But if you make a difference between like the Putin situation and the communist situation, you're only talking about a different monetary policy, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't they're whether they're dollars or rubles or yen doesn't really matter. Speak the truth and they will try to beat you down. Speak too much truth and they'll put you. If you're lucky. Yeah, I know we gave how many hundreds of thousands of face masks to the IDF to continue to oppress Gaza? We didn't send any to Gaza, by the way.
They must have got intercepted by somebody. I wonder how that happened.
No, we sent them. Boxed them up, made them. We can't find PPE for our own people, but definitely can find it to oppress, the Palestinian people. Easy. How many do you need? But all of the people, we talk about like it's more than obvious that our goal was never peace around the world. Because if there was ever a moment where you were able to offer the olive branch of peace, now is the time. Any country that we were at war with, if you went them and said, "Hey guys, together," they do it. You almost have no excuse.
Yeah.
But now we're gonna play all these games.
You could even pay them. I mean, you have like a lot of regions outside of the U.S. where the U.S. military was active. You could have even paid them to produce stuff for you. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh yeah, 100%. But we just don't think like that. If we can't do it with a bullet or a bomb, we're out of ideas.
Yeah, I think most people will be very willing to help with that. Even if dealing with war in the past, still they would help to save lives, because that is what I think many Americans actually don't get. That everyone actually loves Americans, but everyone hates the American government.
Yeah, they hate being carpet bombed by us. They hate being starved or used as labor, as you would.
Yeah, but there's no country in the world that doesn't watch Hollywood movies, right? Or that doesn't eat like McDonald's fast food or whatever, right? Everyone is eating, everyone is doing that stuff. Like, it's everywhere. But
yeah,
they just don't like the government.
I think that's why you see such a backlash as well, because we export an idea to the world, right? Of the perfect America, right? Everybody's beautiful, He lives in Southern California, right? We export an ideal that isn't truly America. None of it's real, right? That isn't the world we live in, right? You can't be black and walk down the street. They'll shoot you, right? Like the world that exists in America compared to what the shiny entertainment world is are two completely different worlds.
Yeah.
You know, in a movie, right? You can be a black man and happen. You can have to run down, the street with a gun. In America, in real life, you'd make it about 4 steps before every cop in that city put a hole in you. Whether you had a good plan, whether you had a badge, whether you're a cop, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's very
Right,
powerful cultural propaganda, too. I mean, I live in a pretty wealthy country, but I look in our cinemas, 90 or 99 or 95% of all movies are American movies. I mean, our own movies like
You
Dutch
can't
movies,
go a
5%
place-
maybe.
You can't go to a place in the world and then not talk about Dances with Wolves, right? Not a place in the world, right? Not a place in the world that doesn't know about Native culture, right? But they're all completely shocked that there's currently a genocide going on in our country. Didn't even know because it's not exported. The movie world that they see from America isn't real. And I think McDonald's and Coca-Cola are two great examples of it, right? That's not a hamburger. Right? It looks like a hamburger, but as soon as you bite into it, if you've ever tasted a real one, nothing in it is real. But it looks like a hamburger, right? It's got the perfect slice of onion and the perfect slice of GMO, tomato, right? But it tastes like shit. And that's really what our entertainment, industry is. It's nice and shiny, but as soon as you bite into it, as soon as you talk to one of those celebrities, you're like, oh, wow, you're a self-centered prick. None of that was real. You're not really a freedom fighter. You just played one on TV. You're not a hero. You just play TV.
Yeah.
You're not even a good person. You just played one on TV. You're not a doctor. You're not a scientist. You're not a freedom fighter, right? You're just a person that has so little real personality that they can step in the shoes of anyone else for a couple of seconds. And then we forget all the people that truly do put the struggle in. You can be fighting on the streets for years and never talk to a senator. Never. If you're a celebrity, you come out and act like you care about a protest one time, and you'll be shaking hands with senators. You meet the president, and you're seen as the leader of a. And in all actuality, you have done absolutely nothing. You've never been arrested, never been tased, never stood up for the actual fight. But you played someone on TV. We put way too much weight on what our entertainment industry is when it's just entertainment. You're just an entertainer. I think you're way overpaid and feel you're way too important. Right? Take a rubber bullet and then tell me about it. Otherwise, just make movies. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you're totally right. It is, it is like they're like it's an illusion, but it's like it's a cultural propaganda, but it's almost religious, like in the sense that more people in the world know like people like Michael Jackson or Arnold Schwarzenegger than people like Hercules in Greece, for example, in those times, or other local like local gods or whatever. Like they're like the new cultural gods. People look at this illusion of that, they believe it.
And I mean, there's for sure. I'm not saying that in storytelling, and there's value in it, but put way too much value on the people that do it outside of what their expertise is. If I want to know how to act, I'll talk to an actor. If I want to know how to direct, I'll talk to a director. If I want to talk about burning down, about throwing a corrupt system, right? You're going to want to talk to an activist. Don't worry about talking to an actor. He can do the based on story after it's all done, but don't get that confused with the people that actually did it. Like, it sucks that that the Mandela effect already has like something that it describes, right? Because I've always thought of it as the Mandela effect, because you've had several people that have played Nelson Mandela over the years, and they always get this, aura. People ask them questions of if they are Nelson Mandela, and you didn't put in any of the work, right, to get to that point. You just played him on TV. But they get this respect as if you put in any of the struggle that man actually put in. You just played him on TV. And it sucks that the Mandela effect is already a thing, because I think that was a perfect name for the Mandela. right? You're not Nelson Mandela. Calm down, right? Read what Nelson Mandela actually. Don't waste your time with the guy that played him on TV. That dude actually has no real experience with the struggle, none at all. Read it from a script. Had coaches come in and tell him how to act it better. An experience that they do not have in any way, shape, or form, no matter how much of a method actor you feel that you are, right? You go spend 10 years behind prison, right? And I think he spent 30, then you can come up and talk.
Well, they have to give you the fake guy. I mean, if there's that real person, but in order for you to be confused, they have to promote a fake guy who scrambles it all up. It doesn't matter who it is. This is their method.
Yeah, I think that definitely gets used against us, and that people, even in their own history, will be erased through the media, and then they're so convinced that like this is the way that it happened. They'll watch Braveheart and feel that this is somehow historically accurate, and then continue to to talk about it as if that had something, if any of that was real, right? And you have people that truly and utterly believe it. It wasn't at all. Lack of education? I don't know. I am super critical of the media. I'm sorry if that pisses some people off. I'm not into it. I don't give them the respect they deserve.
Yeah, it's all about respect. As long as you put up with their disrespect, you have to keep this. It has to be a proper relationship here.
Yeah, they get super pissed if you if you ever say any of that anywhere. Fucking use it. They feel totally disrespected.
Yeah, that's the whole gang thing. You always see that. It's like it's all about respect, except that you have to put up with all their disrespect. Yeah, that's why I've never really understood that. And they don't get it. It's typical of that mindset. It's just like you don't get it. It's like, how about your fucking respect?
Nah, they don't have any. They don't have any.
Don't bring that up. Don't ever bring that up.
Well, it's something that they had. People do look up to wealth and power. I don't know why, but since coronavirus, since it's reduced everybody, they used to post the elite in general. They used to post pictures and videos of fancy yachts and $1 million cars and fancy restaurants and getting their they're done for $10,000 a pop and shoe shopping and all of that. And now all of that's taken away, right? Nobody even cares. In fact, they're tired of it. I'm stuck in people are stuck in a 1-room apartment and you're showing me your walk-in fucking closet. Yeah, lockdown is terrible for you. And I think that they're not getting the respect that they're used to, and it's driving them crazy. It's cool to see, like it's taken that whole group down a peg, and I absolutely good. It's great to see. I mean, I like, but yeah, I'm sorry. Like, it's great that whole thing has just been, everybody is just kind of like, you know what? Just shut the fuck up. And it's like there's lots of them that are doing it. She's real like in the now. Lots of celebrities that people are like, you know what? We saw you on the live stream. Yeah, just fuck off. Look forward to your next movie, but nah, don't really care what you politics or this or that or really anything.
Well, and you see the same groups of people every time something trendy happens, they have to fall into the trend somehow. Now it's trendy to be sick with COVID-19. So, of course, all the usual suspects are getting COVID-19. It's like, give me a break.
The weird, like immediately everybody is like behind Como, right? Mayor Como or Governor Como. And it's like, do you just follow anybody that's on TV? Like, do you not do any research on the people that are standing in front of you? Or just any guy in a suit that says something pretty to you on the TV, y'all are into it. Because as soon as you look into these guys, you're like, wow, that is one of the most human beings that I think I've ever researched.
Well, they don't do their homework. They fall for the whatever sad story it is, some trigger, because they're trained to be virtue signalers, and perpetual victims. And that's what they do.
You kind of saw that with Biden and his latest sexual allegation, and this is number 8 now. And all of these people that were Me Too and believe a woman and Kavanaugh, blah 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 blah. Oh well, and Joe Biden, and then we're just gonna sweep it under. What? Unless it's Joe Biden and Bill Clinton, it doesn't matter. Come on.
Mm-hmm. What?
Well, he's the corporate. He's the designated corporate bastard for the party. You have to get behind somebody, and he's the chosen one.
If you were one of those people that.
What? Did we talk about Julian Assange?
I don't think we have. I don't
Let's
think
talk
we have.
about that.
We do have.
I think he's coming down with the same thing Joe Biden's got. Man, you better watch that, Tyler.
What?
You're coming up with the Joe Biden word salad.
Sleepy Tyler Anon.
Yeah.
But we do have some relatively breaking news with Assange, and I know a lot of people don't get any information. They've censored the hashtag. It is so hard to get real information out surrounding him. So I am kind of happy to at least be able to get that out.
Yeah, give me a second. I have to put everything in front of me. Can't make any mistakes on this. But yeah, there was okay. So April 7 we had the court case. Okay, and so it starts with that there were not even Julian Assange himself was not even at the case. He was not even at the hearing.
Oh, so it's just like a hearing, yeah.
Yeah, but there were no lawyers of him in person there either. There were only journalists, supporters, and a judge.
That's very bizarre. I don't know how the system works.
How have a court date and not be represented at all? Like, how is that?
I don't know. I don't know how the UK system works. They might have different rules.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that every, like country.
All I gotta say is remember Thailand. Come on now.
Yeah, well, they claim it's due to COVID, right? They claim it's due to the pandemic. They can't be there. But how can you have all the supporters and journalists there then? But,
yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And what lawyers can't use like Skype. Lawyers don't know how to Zoom.
Yeah.
Lawyers don't know how to use phone calls. I've seen they do plenty of court dates where they don't want to bring the accused in, that they just do it through CCTV. They can't do that. It is 2020. I can get signal in the top of Mauna Kea and do a live stream from there, but you can't figure out how to get a lawyer to represent Julian Assange at his court date.
Yeah.
Seems odd.
So we have we have lawyers for Assange saying several things, putting several things in front of the judge. At once they say the correspondence they have with Julian Assange in Belmarsh prison is not secure, and it takes weeks to get through. So the lawyers are trying to communicate with Assange in prison, and they claim it's not secure. So they don't have their client lawyer confidentiality, right? That is a right he has, and it takes weeks to get through. So it is very difficult for them to prepare his defense.
Well, they were already being recorded at some place they were at before. It might have been Belmarsh. So I mean, this whole thing about having some confidence, I don't know why that bothers them. They can forget that.
They also say they don't have any physical access to him, and they don't have access to him by video, so they can't have reasonable communication with him anymore. His own lawyers.
Yeah.
And this is what we're like, it doesn't have to be a made biological weapon for evil people to use it as one. And this is one of those situations. Make no mistake, they want Julian Assange to die of coronavirus. Believe me. Right? And they're going to play all kinds of games and in all reality to use coronavirus as a biological weapon against a journalist.
Wait, when is it 1 year?
Was that Tyler? You're cutting off.
Oh God, shitty QoS on the router. When is his 1 year up?
I thought his 1 year was 3 or 4 days ago. Was
Wasn't
the anniversary his anniversary in it being detained for absolutely positively nothing? Was I think 3 days ago?
Yeah.
He was supposed to. He had good time coming. I mean, he was supposed to be released like 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, well, around this
Yeah, I
time,
mean, now they're
we were live. We were broadcasting when he was arrested, and it is already over a year ago right now.
Yeah, so he's already done his year.
and still charged with absolutely nothing. I mean, even the bail jumping thing that they were trying to put on him before, there's no case there. All of that has been made and shown to be fictitious, completely dropped, completely over. Right? They're not holding him for anything, just stealing a man's life because he wouldn't let you get away with war crime.
Yeah. The U.S. prosecutors finally did give in on something, and that is the lawyers for Assange. They said like May 18. Yeah, it should be delayed because we can't have a fair court case because of practical reasons. And well, in this case, the U.S. prosecutors actually they were neutral on this. They didn't want to. They didn't give their opinion. They actually, they didn't say like we don't allow it. We want it. And they said like okay. The judge has to decide on it, but the defense is saying like no, it's not okay now. So they're saying the court is trying to ensure there's a clear phone connection for journalists dialing in. But so the lawyers are complaining they don't even have access to him. At the court case, there were 5 journalists and 5 supporters, and there were no lawyers for him present. And he was not there, and he was not on video link either. They were all dialing in, all his defense and the U.S. government lawyers. They were dialing in at the court.
Just seems like the excuse seems so hard to figure out how to make a secure communications line between Julian Assange and the court. I mean, do you guys need help? Would you like us to do it for you? I mean, setting up a a secure video and audio line is not difficult, like at all. What do you need?
You're right. I mean, secure. Yeah, I mean, it would. It's really.
So Assange lawyer Fitzgerald, he said Julian Assange is trying to protect his partner and his children from the risk of harassment, and that she should keep anonymity, and his children do. The U.S. government lawyer James Lewis, he said that their prosecution is neutral on this, and they don't demand not his partner to lose anonymity. But then the judge says that his partner will not be called to give in evidence, and the disclosure of her name will not have an impact on the bail.
Good.
Okay, and she says that the children are not yet of school age, reducing the risk of disclosing the mother's identity. But the judge also says there is no evidence before the court to say that any U.S. agency intends to harm Assange's partner or children. The public interest in this case has been exceptional and intrusive. The judge actually says the partner needs to be named, or it can be named. So This is
Don't
very sad.
feel that. Yeah, because I mean, number one, you've got countless U.S. officials saying that they would like to kill Julian Assange with drone strikes, assassinations. I mean, they said they mentioned all of it. Some of them wanted. I mean, they went through absolutely every. On the same note, you've got the top leadership and Trump saying that they want to go after people's families. I mean, those are his. Go after their families.
Yeah. Yeah, so Assange defense said like, yeah, please keep her anonymous. Then the USA said, okay, we're neutral on this. We don't demand and to name the name. And then the judge says she can be named because in her judgment, the balance falls in favor of open justice to name Julian Assange's partner. She lifts the order in imposing restrictions on naming his partner and children. So now his partner and children can be openly named and harassed. Just saying.
Which sounds to me like a threat.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's
not
what it
even
sounds like to me.
not even directly from the US, right? Again, the US team is neutral on it. So, yeah.
Well, the U.S. team knows who they are. That's like, it's not like that threat in itself isn't already there. But yeah, I mean, that sounded like pretty open threat to me.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they would even like say the word justice in their note, like falling over laughing, because this is not justice. This is actually injustice, like the definition of injustice.
Yeah. And then we have the legal team complaining again and saying we are not able to have any reasonable communication with him at present, but his instructions are crucial. We've reached the stage where further reasonable input is required from Mr. Assange. We need his instructions. And then his lawyer says Fitzgerald says like Assange is also vulnerable to the COVID-19 every time he uses a video link because he has to move across the prison, queue with others, and use the same facilities as others. So that's what they're also saying.
And we've seen these outbreaks. We had one here in with a bunch of inmates got coronavirus, and they're trying to act confused, like, oh, we don't understand how it continued to spread, and it's obvious, right? He did it on purpose. So I mean, it's dangerous for people to have to move when you've got entities you have stated openly that they would like to assassinate, the same way that they tried multiple times on Fidel Castro. When they say they were going to kill you, I would take that shit serious.
Yeah.
Right? MA can attest to that.
Yeah. So and the judge will try to get like Assange appear on video link, right, for the case in May, because in May the big case is planned, right, the big extradition case. They want to have him appear in video link. So and his lawyer Fitzgerald says that the court should recognize that in fairness to Assange the case should be adjourned in May and vacated to a later date, because it would be unjust to make Assange appear on video link due to his pre-existing health conditions. Then Mark Summers, who is another lawyer for Assange, says the court should hear an application for a stay on a contempt of court order in relation to releasing the name of Assange's partner. So Mark Summers wants to actually block that, I guess.
Good.
He's got some
Yeah, I
aggressive
mean,
lawyers.
I don't see any reason would need to be, or why his partner and kids would need to be named at all.
Yeah, exactly.
What do his under school age kids have to do with this?
Okay, and the judge does actually seem to give in, but they say the judge barrister says the hearing will remain listed on May 18, but possibly with a further hearing in July, if needed. So it might not be the final hearing.
Yeah,
this time.
just more time with him in jail for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Jail would be nice. Prison for doing absolutely nothing.
And then Mark Summers makes another application to
It
restrict the naming of the partner. He keeps going about it, like, no, don't name them. And then the judge says the defense lawyers have until the COB on Friday, which would actually be tomorrow, to apply for judicial review regarding the anonymity of Julian Assange's partner. So, yeah. So that's
Well, like,
gonna be-
what are they trying to? Yeah, what are they trying to get out of this? I just don't see the like what possible information could his like that doesn't make any sense. Like I said, that sounds like a threat to me. Knowing that they're in danger, knowing that even not even government from people being complete assholes, right? Knowing that they're in danger, what is other right? If we can't get to you, we can't get you to crack, then we'll go to your standard mafia tactic.
Well, since they're not really responsible anymore and have to act in a legal manner, that's okay. In the new empire, that's called law enforcement and the legal system.
okay, and so
Yeah, I would just throw you away.
I don't know what to call it. There is a term for when the legal system becomes a system of injustice. I'm trying to remember the word, but when it becomes institutionalized as part of the system, and that's where you're at.
Yeah, because I mean, there should have been countless, checks and balances to keep anything like this from ever happening. At least that's the story that you're told.
Right? Yeah, you're a nation of laws, a rule of law, all these rules, all this law, but where is it?
ABS. I mean, come on, like absolutely none of that applies when you say something that they don't want you to say.
okay.
Expose something that they don't want you to expose.
So the judge, the judge eventually orders a reporting restriction on the name of Assange's partner until April 14, and the defense lawyers have been given until 4 p.m. on April 14 to lodge a judicial appeal against removing Julian Assange's partner's anonymity, or a non-publication order on her name will be rescinded. So, yeah, they have until like April 14 to block the whole destruction of anonymity. And then there is one final thing I should mention that is for extra background. I also want to thank Marty Silk for providing this. He was in the courthouse and giving us updates, like literally real time. So in this extra background, some people heard whispers among court officials that Julian Assange didn't attend today's hearing by video link because he was unwell. I did not personally hear it, but 3 other people are certain that they did. Assange, WikiLeaks. So, yeah. Court officials were whispering that he was unwell. So whatever that means, it's very sad.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah.
Well, let me see if I got this right. I'm trying to figure out their strategy here. It would seem to me like Assange's lawyers, should be wanting to force this rather than going along with an extension or a continuance, to force the thing to happen now. I mean, what more new information or talking would they have to do at this point? That part I don't get.
Well, they do say that communication with him is very difficult, and it's been like they don't have the time to build like the right defense, because it takes weeks for them to communicate with him. They can only use like letters, and they have like very much difficulty to get instructions from him. So, and they want to
It's
make
just hard.
Yeah, they want to make like a tight case, right? They have like, because they know how to defend him. Like it's like they have everything ready, but yeah, you have to communicate with him. It's not possible. But you're right.
Yeah, and I mean, it should not. It's and it's not this difficult for other for other people that are being detained there, for criminals that are there, for murderers that are there. They can talk. Don't seem to be a problem. They can make it back. They can get information back. Phone call.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
do
I
get
mean, I
what
don't think
I do get what
like
Preston,
all
what
of these
Preston
guys.
means. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. That's fine. That's fine. It's just the lag. It's me.
Okay, no, I just wanted to say, like, I do get what Preston means. Like, in his benefit, in his poor health, it would actually be in his benefit to have it as done as fast as possible, I guess. But they do need to prepare a good case. I mean, a good defense.
Yeah, I'm just thinking maybe if they started bucking harder, they could get some kind of, and then since you're not going to agree to a trial, you're just, well, then you have to force some kind of release. At least get that. I don't know. Most lawyers don't really play hardball. Is the truth. They play the game because they work within the system, et cetera, et cetera. They don't really know how to, or they don't seem to know how to actually force things.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going on because it's so far away from the justice system that we've been taught. Like nothing here fits, rationality. It all just seems like this shouldn't be the way that our systems work. People shouldn't be able to just, lock you away and, lock you up and throw away the key for nothing.
Well, there's two different systems at least. There's almost a third one when the government really wants you. There's that third system where it's just like, we got you. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, we'll figure out something to charge you with when we got time. Well, if we can't figure anything out, we'll make something up.
Yeah, or if the time runs out and we're supposed to let you go, we'll just keep you anyway, just because.
Yeah, it just seems so far away from what it should be. But even then, like they're so gun ho on they're not going to be happy, and like MLK, like Che Guevara. They're not going to be happy until they've turned him into a martyr. And then be totally shocked about what that turns into. You could have taken a little bit of egg on your back. It's not like any of you assholes are going to fucking jail. You're gonna arrest George Bush, Dick Cheney? I didn't think so. So, what is the point here other than you're going into a martyr? They're going to inspire people to do more. These people are so short-sighted, they don't even realize. Even as we sit now, right? It's inspired people. Just what they've done so far has inspired thousands of people to keep fighting, to keep sharing the truth, to find new and inventive ways to get the truth out. Something happens to him, that's going to be a million. Not to mention any information that gets released after that.
Well, he claims to have this insurance policy, but man, I've heard that shit so many times. I've got this hard drive stuff somewhere with all this data, and by now it's all old shit anyway. I don't see how that could work.
Yeah, I'm not his lawyer, and there's other things in the game to all of. Man, I would have been those fuckers by now. The moment that they put me in that place, been releasing shit. I'm gonna release some every single day until you let me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, quit playing along. I mean, honestly, what you need is like a massive protest on an ongoing basis.
No, I'd release every single release has every day. Every day there'd be something new. But yeah, that's not him. You know, that's not what they're about. They're gonna try to play along with a justice system that is so fucked. I don't even see why you're doing it. Endless like nightmare hell. Fucking finish him off. Hit back.
Yeah, no, I agree there. You can't play their game. That's how you lose. You might lose anyway.
Yeah,
Either
that's
way, but
the that he's in now. Like you do feel you're like losing anyway. You're just gonna fucking die. Fuck y'all. Let's go. They can't lock him up any more than he's already up, right? They can't try to kill him any more than they're always trying to kill him. Like it's already to that point where it's like you're gonna have to hit back and hit back hard enough that they don't ever play that shit again.
um, I wish their method would play out here so they could give like a final review of the thing, but call
It seems
it a yay or a nay. But
just been
you just
going
seem to
on
get there.
for so long. Like the poor fucking man. Honestly, like they've stolen years and years from him now. Yeah, it definitely bothers me. I hope it comes out. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, over a year of imprisonment, and it's like 8 years in an embassy. It's like almost a decade of his life is already stolen.
Yeah, for doing the right thing, for speaking the truth.
Such a long time if you think about it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I really, I want this to come out right. I want justice to be served. I want the people responsible of war crimes to be brought to justice. I don't want them to punish the journalists that speak the truth, that show us what's going on, that expose things like war crimes. Gotta have hope. Gotta have faith. He'll make it out. He'll get out. It's fine. Before April. I'd like to see people on our side of the pond maybe speak up a little. You don't hear even the Squad and all of those guys. Really hear them. Tulsi Gabbard was literally the only one that ever mentioned Julie.
What? What? Wait. God damn the signal. There it is. Everything started cutting out for a minute.
Yeah, you do get a
Some
little
of it's
choppy.
me. I've internet.
No. It's just the shitty devices, shitty quality, shitty fucking routing protocols and
I don't know. How much. I know we had spoke about that incident in Baltimore. That was really one of the things that I kind of wanted to make sure people looked into. It's just crazy to see.
Oh, that plane flying over and taking everybody's picture.
what plane.
Well, no, that's a whole other weird thing they got going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, Baltimore bought a drone to do surveillance. They said they're going to do it on a trial basis, which just means that they're going to do it, and they're hoping you get used to it and don't say anything by the time it is. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Make sure it's flying over the rich people's houses. They're doing some dirty shit over there, breaking them laws. 24 hours. But no, this is a Baltimore cop walking black neighborhoods, coughing on people, trying to spread coronavirus. It's the most twisted thing that you've seen about corona so far. Like, these cop cars pull up, there's about 3 of them, get out their cars, call everybody out of their houses because it's quarantine and they need to check something. And while they're outside, lined up on their, on their stoops, he just walks up and coughs in their faces like, huh, and then moves on to the next house, does it all the way down the street.
That sounds like a great way to get shot. That needs to happen soon.
Well, I mean, the guy needs to be charged with terrorism, right? That is biological terrorism right there.
Yeah, fuck them.
It's it is the craziest thing. I mean, like, so much is wrong, and like, it's one of those videos. You see the cop cars pull up, and you see where they're at, and you're all like, good. And then just as every step of the way, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Well, that's what it took. You remember a couple of years ago, the cops were, I forget what it was. It might have been near the end of the stop and frisk era. They were harassing, and they were warned by multiple groups to cut their shit, or they were going to start blowing some cops away, and they did. There were like 2 or 3 that just got ambushed and taken out, and then the problem was solved because that's the only thing these people understand. It's how they operate. So and then when they get the idea, all of a sudden it stops. I mean, it's a shame it has to be that way, but that's the only option they leave you.
It's, for some reason, it's just the way their mind works. Like that. Sometimes it just seems like violence is the only thing that these fucking knuckle draggers understand.
It is, yeah. It's the basis of their whole system, and I mean, you're told that the government needs to fear the people, not the other way around. Well, there's why. Because when you let them run shit and you let them run out of control, look where you're at. So you have to have it one way or the other, So.
Yeah, there's just always one more thing. You let them someone in the face the first time, you don't do anything about it, pat them back, right? Then you can't be surprised where that becomes policy. And that's how they say it. Well, that's the policy. Your policy was to jump out of the car and kick somebody in the face as many times as you could. That was your policy. Well, that's how we were trained. All right, you need to change your training right now.
Yeah.
But they'll do something once. Don't say anything about it. Then it becomes policy. That's just how he's always done it. And they act like that word, like policy, means that somehow it was written in stone, like this is somehow some law of nature, and not just something that you made up and now you're doing.
So that, since that's the way it works, so that you as a citizen, you make your policy. My policy is that any asshole that coughs in my face like that, whether you're a cop or not, you get your face blown off. That's what they get.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I do.
But that's also.
I mean, that's where
right?
you're at.
Like
I mean.
Right, but I mean, it's so wrong to defend. You know what I mean? If you did that and you put somebody's family at the risk of death like that, I can't. You did that to yourself. You made that situation. You created that situation. You get into the
here's the argument.
What Varro Scipio had said to Hannibal, right? You didn't make me, you caused me to. Right? They didn't make that situation. They didn't. That everything that happened, make that situation. You caused that to be.
Right, and here's the deal. We're all working under the compact that you don't affect my life. I don't follow the Constitution, laws, et cetera, et cetera. Well, when the police don't do that, I don't owe you a damn thing anymore. The contract's broken. You can have all the policies you want. That doesn't matter. And they don't get that. You're the one that creates that system. You're the one that creates those rules. So now live by it.
And it puts the pressure on people that cause those kind of incidents. They don't happen out of nowhere. Lifetimes, sometimes of oppression before it gets to that point where it snaps, and you've got a riot. You've got things that happen where people have had enough, where you have to be. You know what I mean? You're just running through hurting people. You have to get the fuck out of here. I'd rather have the crime if that's the case, right? I've got you driving down the street and shooting my kids, right? Or I have to deal with the crime. I'll deal with the crime. right? We'll deal with the crime. We can deal it better, 1,000 times better than, right? Or you know what I mean? The things that they do, these violent policies, these violent taxes, choking people out in the middle of the street, just opening up on cars. That's fine. I was better off with the fucking dealers, right? They're at least trying to run a business. I can talk to them, right? You're trying to prove some sort of authority, or you know what I mean? Some sort of fucking psychotic, eugenics fucking system.
Yeah, it ain't the rule of law, that's for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that way, but they certainly breed those kind of situations and that kind of hatred.
Yep. So I just,
At the end of the whether it was this or that, right? If any of those people in that neighborhood, right, die of corona, right, that's going to cause all sorts of problems for the Baltimore police. People are going to remember that, especially if it's a kid. You think that just because you're in a neighborhood, they're not going to remember you coughing in their face and child breath in their bed. And even if they don't do something to hurt you themselves, you think they're going to fucking warn? Nah, they're going to smile in your face and walk the other way, knowing. Why? Because you killed one of their kids. That's human nature.
well, and if you actually do get some of them sick, well, then you just have it coming. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just, there's no need for me to sugarcoat this any longer. It just is what it is.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where I just put my hands up way, like, hey, you brought that on yourself, didn't you? What'd you learn? What'd you learn? Unfortunately, nothing.
No, it never seems to last very long, even if it does, for a year or two, where, you just short memories, or they go back to their old ways. And they have to constantly be reminded. That's the problem with these psychos. They just constantly have to get reminded.
When we let it go and the fighting changes, it's no longer the zoot suits or the communists or the activists or the gays or the water protectors or the this or the that. It evolves as time goes on, but they still tell the same story. Right? It's always for security. It's always we're fighting crime. You should have a tank to fight crime in my neighborhood. If you need a tank to do it, maybe you're the problem. Like, if your ideas are that shitty that you need a tank to get them across, then it's your ideas that are wrong.
That's democracy with a little influence there. That's just a little.
You just have, they have a hard time spinning the enemies that they want to, when my enemies are normally, a Russian has never went through my neighborhood coughing in people's faces to give them coronavirus. Never. Not one time. No Russian, no Cuban, no Iranian. My neighborhood coughed and people to give them coronavirus. So if there's a level of, you know what I mean, you did that.
I think they've seen another one where it was a postal employee like coughing on the mail, coughing on the mailbox, smearing it on the post and then railing and everything. And then you see these other, like, these Chinese people coughing all over, stuff that's getting shipped to Walmart. And you're just like, man, what? I mean, I don't get the thinking. Yeah.
I don't understand it either. You'll see all sorts of those. Saw one, people were licking the inside face masks. I don't even remember where it was from, but they had like a group of people with virus, and then putting them, back in, then packaging them. And it's just like, why are you doing that?
Well, I think here's what I think why. Because you have a hatred for the way things are. You want to get back at the man, but you don't dare attack the man because you're a coward. So you're not going to do that. So what do? You take it out on, like, the little guy who's your brother by fucking him over just randomly. So you get into the random shit where it's like, well, I can't take on the man, so I'm just gonna lick all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'll get these guys infected, and that'll be how I get back at everybody. I mean, it's
Uh,
really retarded.
It's just, yeah, you're gonna go fuck with some poor fucking nurse trying to save lives for what again? That'll show them. You think Mike Pompeo gives a fuck about how many poor people die? Shit, they don't give a fuck how many people they sent of our die. You think they give a shit? Yeah, it's just like the people trying to like somehow like attack or show do not care, not even a little bit. In fact, they're probably happy about it. Yeah, that kind of it just does my head in. That
It's
people
like,
can be that
yeah, you've seen
dumb.
the AIDS patients do that before, years ago, and I mean, not so recently, but yeah, anytime
You'd have
somebody can cough on you or spit blood or something, and it's like they're showing the man, when they do that. It's like, no, you're not. You're just showing what an asshole you are to your fellow
yeah, pretty
man.
much. Yeah, where it's one of those, damn well you can't get the so why? Because you're only hurting the people that probably we're fighting for ass.
Yeah. If you wanted to get back at the man, why don't you cough in your nearest politician's face? If you got COVID, go to a meeting, go cough in his face. Then you're taking it to the man. But just, coughing on the guy that's next to you, that don't make any sense.
I reckon that yeah, just like one of those kids that they're molesting is eventually going to corona, and all those dirty old fucks are going to drop over dead at once. It'll be interesting to see whose cell phones and the cell phone tracking systems they put. It'll be interesting to see whose cell phones are not in there. Because there's a few people I would be so interested to see where they were going. Let me guess, you're only tracking our cell phone.
Yeah, well, the special people, law enforcement, agents of the court, elites, politicians, they get a waiver.
Yeah, bankers.
Yep. There has to be a dividing line between the untouchable and the elite.
Oh yeah, there has to be, because now that you've got that in, you can so easily go in and get every cell phone
Yeah,
where they were. I'd love to see all the cell phones that came near Jeff Epstein. Even better, I'd love to see where Jeff Epstein's phone went.
Yeah, where's
Should be
Ghislaine Maxwell? I mean, where's the madam? Why is she getting a pussy pass? She's no different than
I think
Epstein, and that she gets a pussy pass and has ex-Navy SEALs protecting her and all this shit. It's like, yeah, who's running this show?
well, yeah, and if he killed himself, then why should she need all that extra protection? Yeah, it's like if you can get that kind of information, then oh yeah, sure, I've got a couple of people I know what was going on. Show me where Seth Rich's phone went. Right, I mean you're working as hard as you can to fucking pedophile network, right? Show me where Jeff Epstein's phone went. You've got the tracking on it. You showed us with coronavirus. You showed us when all those people were at the beach party and how their phones spread out and how the coronavirus phoned them. They showed us that video. Show me where Jeff Epstein's phone went.
Oh well, let me start. Talking, elevated here now. well, as Terrence said, you don't understand how things work here in the national security concerns. How the courts work. You just don't get it.
Seems like it'd be pretty easy. Looked super easy. Looked like you just put in the GPS number and it showed us everywhere that it went, all the people that it hung up with, all the other phones that came near it. Let's see where he went over the last 6 months.
Yeah, because we bragged about how we could track everybody, and that doesn't mean we can track everybody. We didn't mean it like that. But we were just bragging about how we were tracking you.
It probably started the day after Jeff Epstein's death was when the tracking program started, is what their numbers will say. We've lost all records of that phone for some reason. It must have been broken with the CCTV.
Well, that's new policy under the Trump FBI and DOJ is shit gets lost, and it's like, oh well.
We call it the device hammer program. That's where we just send people out back and have them smash their hammers, because that's how the internet works.
That's right. Hillary showed us how it works. If you smash your device, it deletes all the electronic traffic. See how that works?
It just seems like you would have such a hard time spinning that to somebody as legit. So, I know what you said in the meeting, but why do you need me to smash up everybody's phone with this hammer again?
Because we need to create a narrative for the sheep, Terrence. That's what we're really working on here. We're trying to find the most outrageous bullshit that we can come up with and tell them, and see if they, because I'm talking like this now, see if they believe it.
With hammers, that just doesn't seem like it's on the level, Madam Secretary.
Or you do your Kissinger. In my Machiavellian voice now, and I'm talking to you about the New World Order and how everybody needs to be locked down. Everybody needs to be a slave.
I love that, like, Henry Kissinger has one of the most evil voices of all time. Like, there's no doubt when you hear him say the crazy shit that he comes out with, right? That how anybody could have taken it as not evil. It's like the Emperor Palpatine of fucking our universe. Like, how did you know?
See, that's how you play to low IQ Republicans. Is you that's the kind of Machiavellian shit they seem to love. If you talk like that and you talk about killing a lot of people and world order, somehow that's what these idiots want to hear. Not realizing that it's all going to be used against them shortly. They never make that connection.
It's just, if I'm having a meeting somewhere and we're trying to snowball some ideas on how we can get stuff moving and usher up a new age, if a guy comes in that looks like him that says, I need you to start with killing at least a third of the population. No. In fact, I think that you probably need to up. That's insanity.
No, because you want to hear a bullshitter that talks like this about how everything's great and it's MAGA, and even though we have this difficult situation that we've totally pandemic and it's all fake and we're just feeding you a bunch of bullshit, it's great. We're going to have great unemployment numbers. They're going to be great, 20-30%. It's going to be so great. Did I fail to mention how great I am?
Oh no! Did you not hear? He's #1 on Facebook. #1 on Facebook.
I mean, when you start talking like that, you just, man, you start believing it. It's like, yeah, you know what? I really am that smart. I really am that great. I really am a god. That's what I am.
I do like. I don't know. They have to. They've got such huge egos. I don't know how they manage. Like, I can't even take it serious sometimes. Like, when someone comes out and tells you how 15 minutes straight, this is an entire career, and you're just like, yeah, man, great, you're awesome. I get it.
How many times have I heard you say how great you are? You know what? Fuck you. How about that? Fuck you just one time. And in between all this greatness, how about one fuck you?
I'd honestly have more respect for them if that was, you know what I mean, if that case, if they just came out once and were like, hey, you know what? Fuck you. I would have so much more respect, but no, this was the winning that we were all hearing about, right? We're going to have so much winning, there'll be too much winning.
Yeah, you're just tired. No, you're just tired of winning. That's what it's so bigly and so MAGA, and you're winning so hard and so fast that you don't appreciate it. I can tell.
Could we just agree and just be like, yes, Faith, you're right. We have won. I feel like whatever it is, we have won.
Yeah, he's that guy at the party that everybody just kind of walks away from. You just go, yeah, yeah, okay, you're the greatest, and then everybody just kind of walk away like, yeah, fuck that dude, whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out with people quite so often. Like you were just too awesome for me. It's the guy that shows up in an all chrome car, right? You were just, man, you were just too fucking awesome for me.
Yeah,
I
you
guess
stepped
this.
out of that limo you paid for, and you looked good, man. You had a suit on, nice tie, you were sharp dressed, and you spewed a great line of shit. But what is that? Other than a great line of shit, what is it?
Well, I think we're now starting to come to terms with what it means to have a, to have a reality TV star as a president, and it has. I think that is one of. So I'll see like a huge uptick in celebrities thinking that they are super important in the political, in the activism circles, and all of that has a lot of Trump moving into that, and the entertainment class moving into leadership or feeling that they're leadership. That is followed very much in Trump's footsteps,
Right.
right? Where they are at some point that became like the most important thing in people's lives is the idiot box and the reality TV on it.
Well, the other argument is we needed a businessman. I still agree. I think we needed a businessman. We did not need a New York con man. That's what we didn't need. So we
Yeah,
still need a businessman. We got to find one because this guy's fucking everything up. So we got to find a businessman quick.
I'm not like the business types I don't get along with, but I mean Romney was a good business, right? That dude
Yeah.
would have slashed his way across the country. I have no doubt that the rich and powerful would be making money hand over fist with him.
Well, he's another one. Yeah. I mean, you could replace Trump with Romney, and you'd get pretty much the same result.
And I think he's probably a better leader, and mentally much more stable than Biden is. And I mean, look, Romney wrote Obamacare, and that's
true.
Biden's like one singing point and all of that. But some of the policies that they're talking about as Democratic establishment policies, right, are Republican centralist policies. We talk about there not being very much difference between Biden and Trump, but there's a lot less difference between Biden's policies and Romney's policies.
Yeah. There's not much difference between all the. I mean,
Any of them.
this is who's the biggest criminal? Romney, Trump, or Biden? I mean, that's a neck and neck operation there, man. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what Steyer was business. He's a billionaire, but the problem with extremely successful businessmen is I don't trust you, like right off the bat, because to get there you got to fuck people over, and that kind of not trust you. So I mean, I don't. The businessman is we just need somebody that can make like actual, like well thought out decisions. Like when you've got a choice to buy a factory and make ventilators, or give $7 trillion to Wall Street, I need somebody that will look at that and wow, I can spend less than $1 billion and do everything I need, or I can spend $7 trillion and do absolutely nothing. That's a businessman.
Yeah, and man, I mean, any one of those guys, the scumbags that I just mentioned, should be able to make that decision. Does it always have to be about your criminality and all about you sucking off the dishonest graft endlessly forever? I mean, like, can you do anything right?
I think the answer is yes. They plan on doing that forever. You can tell by how they write laws. When laws temporary, it's going to take several years to implement. When it's laws for them, right? It's right now and forever. Like they wrote that for the tax breaks that Trump started. They wrote forever, for all time, till the end of the universe. Like you need, like, do you know how insane that is?
Yeah, very selective.
Is humanity like evolved into another species, that tax break for the rich stays. Come on. But that's how they. That's like that's what they think of themselves, as if they were writing into stone.
Yeah, it's classic narcissist behavior, and it's all this drama covering up what's really going on, and it's always the criminal activity. You guys are so easy to spot, and they think like they've gotten away with it. It's like, man, if I just spew some more lies and some more bullshit, I got these people covered, man. I'm actually getting away with this.
Well, if they're really,
And the thing is, they've been totally caught already, and they just keep talking, and
well, I mean, this is the what, the third campaign that that Biden's ran, right? He had to step down from all the other ones for fucking up as well. And they play the same game. They run the same people, the same assholes with the same problems. They just use the words, well, he's reinvented himself. Well, what does that mean? Nothing that you did all the time fucked up doesn't count anymore because you've reinvented yourself for the fourth time?
well, come on. We all know if you reinvent the wheel, that's a big thing. Everybody knows that.
Oh, I give you props for reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
If they achieved anything so great, I would be so impressed. Not even close.
Yeah.
I don't
that's
think
that's unfair to the guys that actually came up with the basic the basic tools that we all use.
Yeah, because
some ancient. It's not fair to them because they actually did it.
In all reality, we haven't had a president that has invented something since Lincoln. Lincoln's our only to ever hold a patent that ever invented anything.
Yeah, the reinventing that gets me because they already invented something. Gee, I missed that. When was that? When did they invent something? Because if you're reinventing, I mean,
nobody liked it, so now they have to reinvent. That's not the kind of leader that I want. That every time that something doesn't go their way or an idea that they have doesn't take off, they immediately flip-flop to something else. Have some fucking conviction in what you're doing. You can look and be like, the world doesn't understand it now, but it's right. And you can apply that to almost anything. Don't do it because it's going to get you votes. Do it because it's right and it'll get you votes. And they never do. They never do. And our power is so diminished. I'm not even sure if our vote matters. I really don't.
No, I don't think it does. It's all pre-selected crap. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got none of the choices I can vote for, and I can't vote for anybody that's running. I'm not gonna look at my grandkids and they're like, "Well, how'd that happen?" By Biden. Nope. Why can't I drink the water? I voted for Biden.
It's a long story.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah.
Do we have? There's so much going on with coronavirus. It's hard to, even in a 4-hour show, to go over absolutely everything. We just gotta, people have to go on our pages, do your research. When we post videos and new information, share it out, watch them, because we can't go over the 10,000 stories that we get or posting. Do we have anything top on the list we still need to go over tonight?
Not that I know of.
Because it's
but anything could happen.
Yeah, it's just more talking about about coronavirus. But I think it's more important for us to get good info out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have anything. If you guys, I don't know if we were gonna.
I don't know if we were gonna. Yeah, I thought this might be quick, early show.
We should start with giving the advice on how people can avoid getting or spreading COVID. I think we should do this every episode.
Agreed. I think Tyler, you're probably the most.
Yeah, I mean the hand washing thing. Yeah, I understand that. There's there really is low to little risk of you getting it from and oral. There's still a 1 in 100 chance you could breathe in through the droplets of your mouth, but there's a closing that opens and closes when you're open, when you're breathing and you're swallowing. But yeah, wash your hands as much as possible. If you're using PPE equipment, please, in between uses, get some sort of sanitized ones. Please wash them in between uses. I also found in some of the 7-Elevens they're selling not hand sanitizer, but 82% alcohol spray. That would work. If you're going to be reusing gloves, please try not to. But if worse comes to worse, please, yes, wash them in between. Please also use proper glove technique. If you're going to be taking off the gloves, please take them off from take off gloves with your thumbs from the inside of one, and then use the thumb to take it off the other, and then wash your hands afterwards in between using gloves. Same with the mask. After you've washed your hands, please take off your mask carefully. Also, be careful with the cloth masks. Just because you're wearing a mask, unless it's anything than a full face mask respirator or a N95. Even N95 still have a 5% chance of you still getting them in. Respirators, it's like less than one. Unless you're using something of medical quality, you really aren't. Uh, the chances of you getting it are low. But I'm just saying that the virus is smaller than the pores and the stuff that you're using. So please, I know that they're saying please just use cotton masks. Even if you could wrap, even if you can in a bandana or one of those cloth masks, if you can get a piece of paper like a what is it, the towels, the paper towels, you can layer those. Even that's more protection. I just don't recommend using a bandana scarf. It's really it'll help you a little bit, but the more layering inside of these things will help you. Also, the bicycle mask that people have been wearing with the PM, the 2.5 M activated carbon filters. Um, those still aren't enough protection. We're talking about 80 to 75% reduction. It's just that the pores are not uh, sufficient enough, and make sure your mask is tight if you're using those. You can also double up on your on the activated carbon one, or you know what you can also do is just put a piece of paper towel in between there just to make sure that it's doing. But I would try and stay away from the cloth masks as much as possible. If you have access to anything that's better, like Mark was saying, the other days, if you can get those vacuum cleaner bags and make them into a mask, you're probably better off using something like that. It's just that the virus is smaller than the pores in the mask, and I know it's spread through droplets that are inside of the virus is inside of the droplets. Primarily, that's the mode of transmission. And I'm just saying that it's better to be safe than sorry, and just realize that even if you have a mask on, you're still not 100% free from getting it. But remember, the mask also serves a protection as you from the other. So if you're infected and you don't know it, you have less chance of spreading it to other people if you're wearing the mask. Because, like we said, you don't necessarily know. I know they say up to 14 days, really, but with most viruses, you'll know within the first 72 hours. There's always some weird thing. If the first chance that you know that you're sick or you start to feel sick, the first sign, please take your temperature. If it's above 99, you should probably quarantine yourself. If it goes, like I'm saying, in the 100. And if you're having any trouble breathing, please call 911 or ask for or go to a hospital immediately. Um, just understand that just because you're wearing a mask doesn't necessarily mean that you're safe. It just depends on what kind of mask you're doing and how well you just how well you are protecting yourself. Now, can you be 100% safe in any of these situations? Yes, but we can't. We live in a society where we have to still do stuff. So walking around in a big bubble suit or a biohazard suit really isn't going to help anybody at this point. So try and be safe. If you know that you're sick, don't let anybody. Even if you think you're calming down with something and it happens to not be COVID, it's better to be safe than sorry. Call your employer, and then just say, hey, I'm starting to feel sick, and then allow 24 hours to figure out what is going on, rather than going to work and infecting other people. So,
What about the distancing? Is that useful?
it is mainly their concern is the droplets. Primary mode of spreading it. Now, is that scientifically proven to be the best thing? I have no idea. Um, I just know that the further you are from the person that you're talking to or you're around, the further you distance yourself, the less likely you are to get it. But mainly their main concern is droplets. When you're talking, they're microscopic droplets. When you sneeze, there are droplets that go into the air, become airborne. I know they say they can be detected in the air for up to 3 hours, but I don't know. I'm not really like an expert on how effective it can be floating around in the air for that long. I really don't. I really. But distancing yourself from other people, yeah, it helps to a degree, but it's not like, oh, if I'm 6 feet away from a person who's infected, I'll be safe. We're just saying that try and stay as far as you can from other people.
Those large groups are, probably the most dangerous place for you to be.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I know please just don't do it at this point. Wait until shit's a little safer. Um, if you're having a little gathering between friends, just make sure that everybody's safe. But going out, it's not something that's safe to do right now. Even though they've been going on.
Yeah, how great things are going. I mean, it's just I kind of view it. You add it up. Each thing lowers your chance a little bit. And if you have to go out, you want to do everything you can.
Well, I mean, if people want to go and buy out and buy, CDC, CDC type mask, the full mask with the biochemical respirators, yeah, aspirators, you can still get them, but I'm just saying that they're quite uncomfortable and they're not exactly designed to
and you
24 hours a day.
or you don't have a decon area sitting next to your car, so you go and you're
Yeah,
safe and
yeah,
go in, dragging
yeah.
it with your car. You take it off, right? You've got it on the outside. There's it doesn't stop. The chance it doesn't stop. It's not 100% and you not getting it because geez, it could be on the bottom of your shoe.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people are giving into if it says immune. I've been noticing this when I'm going into the health food store or the pharmacy because I'm not the most healthy person. I do have some health issues. That people have been buying up immune support. Literally, all you need is a multivitamin to boost your immune system. That what I'm saying is that more white blood cells is not going to help you fight off this virus in any way, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it'll help you make your immune stronger in the long run. But just don't be buying products because they say that it's going to work. Heavy doses of vitamin C. There's a lot of controversy over that, but I mean, if worse comes to worse, all you need is to boost your immune system would be just a multivitamin. If you want to get specifics, the D3, not regular D, K1, K2, and maybe some B vitamins. But then again, all of the essential vitamins you need, you can get them Centrum Silver. Eat healthy. Don't eat, don't be, Um, um, also, just keep in mind that this is a respiratory disease and not a gastrointestinal. Even though 10% of the patients have been experiencing diarrhea, that's quite rare. So people who are still panic buying toilet paper, please fucking stop, because it makes no fucking sense. Because this is a respiratory virus, not a gastrointestinal, and you literally can't breathe because the virus is eating the cilia inside of your lungs, creating microscopic holes and damage to your lungs. So you buying tissue and toilet paper when your lungs can't aspirate the fluid, because it's literally going to a pneumonia-like symptoms, which you can't cough up the shit. I don't understand why you're buying toilet paper. By that point, you're already in the hospital. So just stop buying fucking toilet paper. I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
We need a friggin' psychologist to do an analysis on that. I mean, that's like one of the lingering problems with this whole coronavirus thing is this the correlation between the virus and toilet paper.
Oh
and
yeah,
paper
yeah.
products.
You know what else I've been hearing?
It's
Correlation
us. Hell yeah.
between 5G towers and coronaviruses. If you guys are posting that shit, I'm just gonna unfollow you. You guys are fucking crazy.
Well, and
There's
before
no correlation.
that
There's
far,
absolutely zero correlation between radio transmissions and a biological virus.
and I'm willing to entertain ideas about G5. Like, I'm not, understanding the science, but I don't cut people off. They just don't understand what it's all about. But Alamo made a really, really, really great point when we were having our, discussion roundtable before the show. And would you mind telling them, what you had said earlier? Because as soon as you said that, for anybody that has, that wants to talk about 5G being the cause coronavirus, listen to what he's about to say and really listen to what the fuck he's about to say, and that won't be a line of interest that you will have right now, at least not dealing with coronavirus. But after you hear this, it will all make sense.
Me?
No,
It's
the fact that Iran is supposedly doesn't have any 5G towers anywhere, and yet they're hit hard by the coronavirus. So, I mean, if there's a correlation there, it doesn't seem to work in that case.
Also, I think the Q community spreading it, and also I gotta warn this to people that are thinking that the coronavirus adds up to 666. I'm sorry, but if you study numerology and the way that you're supposed to add up the numbers, you can't add up the letters, the 6 letters equals 6, and then add up all the numbers into normal numerology to equal 666. Improper, esoteric studies. So coronavirus would be on the alphabetical, the number, the relation it is into the alphabet, and then it would be a 2 number, or it would add up to 1 number, which would mean. So whoever keeps on spreading the coronavirus is the 666. So they obviously didn't read the Bible and don't know numerology, because.
Well, wouldn't we have to convert it back to Hebrew and then do it?
Well, no, the mark of the beast is supposed to be naming the Antichrist, and also it's supposed to be a payment system that only those who bear the mark of the beast will be able, on their forehead or their hands, will be able to pay for anything. So it doesn't make any logical.
Isn't that a mistranslation anyway? Isn't the actual number 616?
They really don't know, because I don't know if John, who really is apostles, he was just some guy who I think was. I don't know too much about the history of John. All I know is that he wasn't an apostle, and he was his revelation was some book that was posted towards the canon, and it was I don't if it was written in Hebrew, then it would apply to the Hebrew translation and not the Greek alphabet or the normal English alphabet. So it would make more sense if it was Hebrew, which is more of a numerical.
Well, I want to say that like the early possibles were probably talking Greek too. I mean, that's where it really would get hairy.
Well, I know, like the the scriptures revelations, 18, 13, 13, 18. One of the two. Dang it. 13:18. It's Revelations 13:18. And that's the 666 is the mark of the beast. But I thought that once the Dead Sea Scrolls and some other manuscripts was found, that number was actually 616 was the name of the beast, which would
It could be a mistranslation. We really don't. I really am not like the end expert. I mean, I do know, but it's just convenient for somebody to translate the number into an English alphabet, and it doesn't for me, knowing old manuscripts and knowing how things work over translations, is that it probably wasn't related. The number probably isn't relating to an English language translation. So you would translate the name into the originating language which it was written in, and then seeing if that transcript, what language it was written in, or if there is an English equivalent translation. So I'm just saying that you might be right. It might be different. It might be completely different.
Yeah, numerology is one of those things you can, when it comes to math, you can, and you're trying, you've already got in your, the answer is, we got X. You can always fill it in to equal
Well,
six.
no, in numerology, so each letter has a numerical value, and then if numbers end up being double digits, you add the numbers together, and that is the number. So then, if it's like 10, it goes back to the number 1, I believe. It's very complicated. So whoever's spreading this meme that coronavirus is 666 obviously knows nothing about.
Well, and I think it'd be really hard to put that into place because most of God's creatures are doing awesome right now. Right? Like absolutely awesome because we're all locked in our houses. So if this is an act of a deity, right, chances are it's God telling you to knock it the fuck off, if that's the case, and not Jesus, or not the devil trying to fuck up the rich and powerful's money scheme. Doesn't really sound right.
Well, and if this virus is like natural, which we assume, I guess, it's a creation of God, I guess, too. So.
Well,
You could go with that aspect too, yeah.
Oddly enough, that is exactly what the Pope said yesterday. That the virus could possibly be nature's way of fighting back against what man was doing to it. That was from the Pope yesterday.
Now, what if it's a man-made virus, though? Is that still natural? I contend that
I
it
don't
is.
know. I wish AK was here because he's been digging a lot, and he's got some pretty solid leads on some stuff.
He is probably, when it comes to investigative reporting, he is probably the best. He is always digging up in the. I mean, it just manages to get like right where he needs to be, and the information. It's amazing to see sometimes. Like he'll send you something, and it's like it's verified. It's from the right people. It's from the right. And you're looking, and you're like, how the fuck did he get this?
Yeah, I guess like really obsessed over one subject, and he just searches everything about it.
Yeah, he will fight. You ain't hiding.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff, he has resources that assist you, but yeah, he's been digging, and what he thinks, where he came from. I should probably let him go on and talk about it. I won't I won't spread his or ruin his article.
Okay, but we like we were discussing, is the virus also natural if it's man-made, right? Alamo.
Well, I mean,
Well,
oh, oh, come on, the powder that they're anthrax. Anthrax is natural. Anthrax occurs in nature, but the weaponized anthrax that we're using is right. That's been changed. It's been altered. It's had things to it to weaponize it. But anthrax itself, right, exists naturally. You find animals all the when the snows melt, they'll get into something and they'll die of anthrax. Um, it doesn't happen super often. There was a guy, a drummer, a couple of years ago that did like natural drumming, and one of the things that is caught in the tanning of the leather is anthrax. And yeah, he was hammering on on his drum, powdered the anthrax, and it killed him. Normally, it wouldn't have worked that way. It doesn't exist in that form, and he literally had to powder it in front of him and breathe it in while he was drumming. He didn't mean to. It just was in the leather that he had turned into a drum. But the weaponized anthrax that we use isn't naturally occurring, and the death rate and how it affects and travels through the air and how much it takes to kill you has been modified. Um,
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that's the same as with coronaviruses. They exist in nature too. There are plenty of coronaviruses in nature. Well, then you can ask the question like, how natural are dogs, right? Because dogs are domesticated from originating from wolves and wild wolves, and they are now different animals. And we have like all these dogs, and you can say like, is this man-made coronavirus? If it's like that, is it like a dog created from a wolf, right? It's we consider dogs creatures of nature too, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, where you've taken something that was in the natural world, domesticated it, and changed it. Is corn natural? Would be another question, right? So corn in its
Yeah.
natural state is just a prairie grass, and over really less than 300 years, Native Americans line bred it until it turned into the corn that we know and love today. But not a natural occurrence.
Yeah, it is with cows. It is too like that. The original cows are very different than the cows we have today. Like,
Yeah, the cows that we have, our meat cows and dairy cows, cannot survive in the wild. They can't
yeah,
survive without people.
yeah, exactly. So, in that sense, even if it's created from like an edited virus, then it would probably be natural too. Yeah, I guess that's philosophical.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't think that we should be messing with kind of stuff. To be honest with you, when it comes to viruses, yeah, I don't think that it's a technology that we need to invest in. There is no win to biological weapons. So, I mean, I'm really pushing as hard as we can to try to get these things, banned altogether. There is no win for a biological weapon, and I can't trust anybody with the chance that they could use them. Right? You don't like something that's going on, and you use it for this or you use it for that, and it ends up killing everyone. I can't take that risk, and I can't trust anybody that would use one for any. You can't give me a reason where a biological weapon is the right thing to use.
No.
Again, if you can't get your ideas through without murdering everybody on the planet, your ideas are wrong, not the planet.
Yeah, well, we do know that some companies were actually working on creating viruses, so-called like if someone watched the TED speeches by like Bill Gates, for example, he suggested to use adenoviruses for gene therapy to actually cure people. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so they were working on these things. They were actually they thought a virus would be a good way of like injecting something inside the people's body, like gene therapy. and they were actually working on like circumventing the immune system, because not even for a negative thing, for a negative reason, but because they don't want all the complications when they do the gene therapy. They don't want you to get fever and all these that you're feeling ill all this time, because that is your body's reaction to this virus, right? So
Yeah, and
yeah.
I think that we have to definitely put a line between. There's nothing there's nothing in these technologies that are inherently evil, right? Biomedical research and biomedical weapons. The only difference is what you're putting the focus in. If you're putting the focus into designing a weapon that murders everybody on the planet, then you can do that. If you put the focus into designing a virus that heals everybody on the planet, you could do that too. Probably cost a lot less, right? Because you don't have to do it all hidden, right? You don't have to do it through black money and build secret sites and all that. You can do it right out in the open, or you can hire researchers. You can do everything. It will significantly less. But the technology in itself, using gene therapy and viruses to do editing and all of that, totally not evil. But if you give it to evil people to make bioweapons with, then it is.
Yeah, it's kind of like we like most of us use like the Tor network for like anonymous browsing and all these things, which is originally like a military creation too for communications on the battlefield, and it was like reverse engineered by some hackers, and they made it useful for us. It's the same like this, I think, that of course the military will also be interested in the coding for a virus like this, and they maybe want to weaponize it. It's possible. Or some evil people might want to weaponize it. But these things like adenoviruses and gene therapy, they're doing this in public. They were not hiding anything. They were just they were explaining about this and how they were going to do it. So, in that sense, yeah.
And see the technology being used for what it should be used, and you can apply that to other stuff, right? GMOs in themselves are not evil. You could make plants to feed the entire world, make them grow in deserts. You could do all sorts of wonderful, great, positive things with GMOs. They don't do any of them. And you can say that about a lot of industries, right? The aircraft industry and the drones. You can make predator drones, or you can make drones to deliver supplies during hurricanes. The choice is up to you.
Yeah, well, I'm convinced that even companies like Monsanto, which are like super evil, right? I mean, but they
top tier evil.
Yeah, but their end goal is actually to make. Yeah, but I mean, I'm convinced that their end goal is to make actually a good crops for us to use and that provide a lot of food. But in the meantime, they also want to sell their already GMO manipulated stuff that is not so useful yet, but.
I don't think they have any intention of doing anything positive in the world. They've had, 150 years to do something good? I don't think they're going to.
Okay, maybe. I'm convinced that these companies, like, at the end, actually want to make, like, a super product that, like, is better than all the other food stuff, like, that everyone buys from them, but, yeah.
I think they want to make a seed that will not grow unless you pour a liquid on it that's from them.
Yeah, that's, for now it seems to be true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, bears like 200 years old, something like that. They've been doing non-stop evil for 200 years. These were the same guys that made heroin for children, and I'm not joking here, guys. Heroin for children. That was Bayer's #1 product there for a while.
Yeah, they were part of Germany's IG Farben, and. They built their factories in front of the concentration camps, so that people could go to work there. They're literally like at every major concentration camp, like from Auschwitz to whatever. You find an IG Farben factory next to it. So, yeah, that was by a buyer. So, saying that they want to cure the world. Suddenly.
Yeah, no, top tier evil. That's why we're seeing, we see all these videos of whatever they're spraying all over the street. Coronavirus is killed by UV rays, right? The sun kills it just fine. What are you spraying all over everybody?
Yeah.
Like you the same videos that I have, right? They've got backpacks, they've got these giant trucks, right? They're constantly showing whatever they're spraying over everybody. Not once have I seen a story saying what the fuck they're spraying. I have a sneaking suspicion Monsanto is there. You just traded dying of coronavirus in 2 weeks for dying of cancer in 6 months. Like, if Monsanto is telling you to spray this shit over your people, right, you poison people, guaranteed. And they've got like tons and I mean like billions of gallons of Agent Orange that they're desperately trying to get rid of. That's been outlawed. Roundup has been outlawed everywhere, and now they have to get rid of as much of that shit as they can. Otherwise, they have to pay to get rid of it. And it's much easier to spray it all over everybody because of the emergency of coronavirus than actually getting rid of it. I don't trust that. No way. What the fuck you guys spraying all over me? Nah, top tier evil.
Yeah, everything
Like-
they show so far is pure evil. For sure.
Monsanto, I expect when their execs walk into the room, like lightning strikes and the fucking clouds get dark outside. All their contracts are signed in children's blood.
Yeah. I wonder what you have to do to become like a high level guy there.
You have to eat a baby.
Something like that.
Well, you have to be a pedophile.
Yeah, those are your two choices, right? You got to eat a baby or you got to be a pedophile. Only way to be a CEO at Monsanto. Blood in, blood out.
Oh, I was thinking, okay, Monsanto. I was thinking government. Well, it's probably not too much different. You know, you have to be compromised. So.
It's the rotating. It's the revolving door. The revolving door. Sacrifice some people. You know the standard, right? Do your normal seance to Cthulhu. Nothing special. Real humdrum stuff. Dance around naked to the giant. But yeah, I'm sure they've got. You don't just get to walk in. You have to already have proved yourself to be truly diabolical before you can work there. It's like the Legion of Doom. You've got Monsanto, you've got Bayer, you've got fucking Jeff Bezos, which I'm pretty sure is our universe's Lex Luthor. Tell me, if Superman came into our universe, you're telling me he wouldn't fly straight to Jeff Bezos' house and go, "What the fuck that is, Lex Luthor? Don't try to pull nothing over on me."
Oh, I was thinking of what's the deal with Bezos?
Dude, I think he's just walking around doing evil, as you would expect Lex Luthor to be doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's that's the normal activity. With something else. I got my brain will fart here in a minute. But.
He fired everybody that protested about not having PPE at their warehouses.
Well, that's one thing. Yeah, that's they're bitching about that.
Do we want to go down the list? They got shut off for something recently, and I don't. There's a couple of things going on with telecoms right now, and I'm not sure which part of it was, but they got they're required to keep certain bandwidths. I'll look up and see exactly what it is, but they wanted to change a policy that they're not going to change. The U.S. cut off Chinese telecom earlier today, and I think they're also cutting off Hong Kong telecom as well as a security risk. But there's actually quite a bit going on in telecoms while everybody is distracted with coronavirus.
Yeah, there was something with Huawei. I didn't. Well, Canada's had their ongoing pissing match with them, but yeah, I want to say they were turned down for some big contract.
Well, in Foxconn up here, said they're going to start mass producing PPE, but like we just paid Foxconn something like $300 million if they did anything. They said they were going to hire a bunch of people. They just took the $300,000 and walked away laughing, I assume. And now there's this like giant half-built factory that they like forcibly moved everybody out of their house by government build that nobody's using. And I think now they're saying they're going to try to make PPE there. I say we just take it in. there. Tell Foxconn to fuck off. Y'all have been paid. Go away.
It is at their controversial Wisconsin plant. It says at the first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like we paid them, destroyed people's lives, like destroyed the town that was in, gave these clowns like millions and millions of dollars, and then they were like, "Oh, you know what? Rather than hiring the whole town, I think we're just gonna hire 10 executives." Yeah, we're just gonna do that. And like idiots, for some reason, we pay people up front in hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't understand, but we do.
Yeah, well, companies like Foxconn can easily make them. I mean, like they make like the apples and stuff, right? Like all the.
Yeah, like
Sell a lot of
LCD,
stuff. Yeah.
all of that, but they said that it's cheaper for them to make them literally anywhere. Nobody, like the people aren't buying LCDs the way that they used to be. Everybody's into LED screens now. So yeah, 300 million. Have a great day. We just got hustled, really.
Well, governments are great at picking deals like that. Because they listen to con men, who are the people around your politicians. That's the kind of ideas they come up with.
It seems like weird that you would pay somebody up front before they did anything. Like a multi-billion dollar factory.
Yeah,
and I'll reimburse.
Yeah, you seem to have a contract with no milestones. It's just like you can do whatever you want, and then when the money's gone, it's like, oh well, there were no clauses for clawback or anything like that. It was a free deal.
Yeah,
I mean, nobody writes a contract like that.
No requirement for them to hire people. No, and they said, well, we're going to bring in our own specialists. These 10 people, and you're kind of like, well, why don't you just send the 10 people here in town to school to do it? That's fine. But they're real loyal to their not. They really looked at us in the eyes and were all, Korean company. Why would we hire anybody that wasn't Korean? You stupid? And
Well,
on top,
I worked at a plant here in town where they got a big tax break, and they never fulfilled it. They stayed around for like 5 years, and then they sold it off a couple times, and so they never fulfilled their 10-year commitment to keep it employed and all that. And the city just like, well, yeah, it's Coors, it's okay, let it go, no big deal.
It's not their money.
Yeah, it's just it's that thing though. It's just like it would be just as easy for a city to go after a company like that, because it's like, how are you going to fight like the local authority? But they'd much rather go after a little guy than the company. When the truth is, it's the same paperwork. So.
Well, and I mean, it's like when it comes to Foxconn, you got the machines, you could build anything that you want there, and you've got a huge emergency and a need. I would have just taken it. We paid you for the building already. Fuck off.
But it's to me, it's like self-censoring. What you see is this other activity of like people, because it's like, oh, it's Mr. Big, so all of a sudden Mr. Big gets special waivers. It's just like assumed. You don't even have to tell them. They automatically know in Schmuckland that that's the way things are supposed to work.
Oh yeah,
so they go along with it. They feel threatened. It's like, oh shit, it's Mr. Big,
Oh yeah, look at what Bloomberg. These are the unbreakable rules of the DNC. Oh, would you like $500 million? Right away, sir. Is there anything we can get you? Do you like some water? Maybe a back massage or something? You know what I mean? Like, it changed so quick. All you had to do was sign a check, and oh yeah, that turns out that was not right in unbreakable law. In fact, you didn't even notice. Took them like a couple hours. Literally wrote a check and walked right onto the debate stage.
Yeah, it's incredible. Well, we need more stand-up people like that. If we only had more stand-up private corporate political parties like that, we could win. We'd just be winning so big. You don't even know how big it'd be winning.
Yeah, we'd be working in the fields in no time. They even give you free jewelry.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's this double standard, and you kind of saw it like here, we're in a huge emergency. All we kick out. You just bought one for $300,000 or $300 million.
Yes, that just that normalization training. I mean, you see people. It's like, oh well, I can't say that, because on YouTube, it's like, hey, you're on BitChute now. Nobody gives a fuck over here. Quit talking this stupid shit like you're still on YouTube. It's like, why are you censoring?
Yeah, and like we get into that where it's just I'm not going to play the games, right? If you censor me on this one, I'll move to or else I'll just open up another page. I don't care. Right? Censoring me is not the threat that you think it is. So why waste my time like holding my tongue for things that I don't believe in, or I can't say offend this person or offend that people. If it's the truth, it's the fucking truth.
Huh.
Which is really what they're trying to censor. But you can even see it in like social. You can see it, and well, I can't say that, or I have to say it, right? If it's the truth, everybody that hear it definitely heard the truth. I'll download it and re-upload it on the next page. I don't give a shit.
Well, I'm gonna have to write you up, Terrence. You're just not getting it. You're supposed to be scared and self-censor.
Facebook isn't gonna like me anymore.
You
Yeah.
obviously need some more training. You're just not getting it. Yeah.
Off to the camps with you. All right. Yeah, I don't think I have anything like really, you know what I mean, that isn't. We've got.
No, I mean we could go over the hundreds of scumbag local officials that think they're little dictators and want to fuck everybody over with their new mandates. Oh, here's what I love. They're all just suggestions. They have no force of law or nothing except after I give you this suggestion, I'm going to tell you that it's 6 months in jail or $1,000 fine. I mean, where do they come up with this shit, man? Oh, you just wrote a new law? Really? Wow. You barked an order and it became a new law.
Yeah, you just kind of skated all the way around the three branches of government there, did you?
Yeah, man, I'm just like, and no matter where you look, it's like shit here in town, man. 5 or 10 right there. I mean, it's just like every scumbag government official thinks they're a little dictator now.
Oh, you remember what was the that video? How a bill becomes a law? You just say security.
National security.
Or security, and you can make any law you want, legal, illegal, against the Constitution, doesn't matter. All I gotta say, security. Terrorism, guys. Coronavirus. ISIS. Space ISIS. Right? Security. That's all you gotta say. That's how you make a bill of law. You don't even need the bill part. That's just how you make a law.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I like one of Kissinger's old statements. It was like, the illegal we can do immediately, but the unconstitutional takes a little bit longer. That was, I forget what year that was, but that was classic Kissinger.
Yeah, it was probably like the third or fourth time that they renamed the Patriot Act.
Yeah, man, I want to say that was like in the 70s or 80s. I mean, this guy was way ahead of his time.
People are always shocked at how long the Patriot Act has been around, how many times they had tried to fucking push that up, and they just keep at it until until an emergency happens. Away all of your rights.
Yeah, of course. That's the opportunism, and like they create like the fear, and then they come up with they can do anything. They just say like, we will secure you, we will keep you safe, and so we will do this to keep you safe.
I think that's where these Extinction Rebellion people and all this climate nonsense, that light bulb went off. It's like, oh, wait a minute. If we can declare a climate emergency, well, we got you right by the balls. I mean, you declared this emergency, we'll just declare that an emergency.
Yeah, but they will also they do the same thing, because they say like, okay, if we have the solution, we have all the clean energy, and we move to this, but the large scale clean energy is of course all funded by the people who are behind that stuff. So yeah, I'm all for clean energy, by the way. I mean, like, I want everyone to have solar panels and all these things, but you can do it on a small scale yourself. But, yeah.
I fight constantly for alternative energy, for green power, for all of that stuff. But on the same note, y'all got to quit using slave labor to fucking get lithium. Knock it the fuck off.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The lithium in the batteries in the Tesla cars. The lithium comes, yeah, from slave labor, but also it comes from like Afghanistan, for example. Afghanistan gets conquered. There's 3 trillion in lithium in these mountains, and it just gets pushed
Yeah,
in these cars.
our only reason for this psychotic buildup against Venezuela, right, is for their lithium mine.
Like, it's obvious we need clean energy. If we can make it, we can just all use clean energy. There's no big problem. But to actually help like certain companies like own, like monopolize all that stuff, that we shouldn't do that. I mean, we don't have to do that. We don't have to fund green banks, which are the same banks who actually caused all the problems in the first place. Like, yeah, they funded a large industry that was actually polluting the world. So
Yeah, and they receive they're completely irresponsible for
yeah, but like
which is
you know, in history, they funded all the wars. They funded the big industry that is like polluting, and now they just changed their logo to green, and we all have to like support them, and they will lead the green movement. Like, I'm not falling for that scam. Like, we can buy our own solar panels or even make our own wind reactors, wind generators. So yeah,
Well, you just change your business card to a green business card, and
yeah, that's what they do.
you're there. I mean, come on, it's easy.
Oh, I remember when we were going to the Bahamas, right? And this guy comes in, and he's got this whole like PowerPoint presentation, all of it, about the generator systems that go with it. You know, how green energy and all of that. And I'm like, well, right on, right? And he goes, oh, it's diesel fuel. And I was like, well, how the fuck is that going to help us? Right? I can't get gas there. What makes you think I can get, you know what I mean? Thousands and thousands of gallons of fucking diesel fuel to run this thing. Well, it's super efficient. Just use the sun. Knock it off. Like, what are you doing? It's the Bahamas. You can use the sun. But it was because you're literally going to the same people that screwed you over the first time and expecting it to come out different. Who do you work for again? ExxonMobil. Get the fuck out of my office.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah, so I mean,
the sun is like very strong for energy. You have to actually, I think they should improve the solar panels, but wind. I think wind is kind of like a strange energy. It is for like emergency, but I think they on large scale they should use like water far more than that.
the tidal property. I mean, it's one of those things where there is energy all around. There's places where wind's going to be perfect, places where sun's going to be perfect, places where a mix of the two is going to be perfect, place where geothermal. New Zealand is completely ran off of geothermal because they have the resources.
Yeah, Iceland too. Iceland.
And one of the benefits, although I have seen recently some really big earthquakes that are just earthquakes happen, but if you look at it over a long scale, because they're using some of that pressure and some of that energy for the country and their energy production, they've actually seen a fall in earthquakes and volcano eruptions and all of that in New Zealand because they're taking the pressure off. You know, they're taking the pressure off of that system, which is a added benefit. But I mean, my thing is there is energy absolutely everywhere around us. Just been tricked into thinking that the only way that you can get it is by digging it out of the bottom of the ocean and burning compressed dead animals. Where you can't, the sun is so powerful, you can't even look up into the sky without it blinding you. There is so much energy coming up. If you're light-skinned, you can't even go out on a sun close to the equator. You can't go outside without getting third-degree burns. There's so much energy coming off of the sun. Now, I mean, for sure that technology catch up. It's been held back for 30 years, but you're going to see it take off from a rock, you know, like a rocket. The way that you've seen cell phones have helped a lot in battery technology because you weren't able to research battery technology, but then the cell phones have accelerated our research into battery. Eventually, you're going to have a battery the size of your car battery that's going to be able to the entire house.
Yeah, the storage of power has always been a problem.
That's our biggest drawback right now is trying to store it. But you also, if you look like you're about to make a breakthrough in battery technology, the government came and shut you down, like with sledgehammers
Yeah.
for national security. That it's going to undermine the oil industry, and that's going to destroy the country, and not that it's going to undermine the country and free our. Where you're no longer dependent on a system that literally has taken down everything that happens on our, whether it's war, whether it's regional instability, whether it's hurricanes, earthquakes, whether it's wildfire, absolutely everything stops the oil industry. Should we really depend on it that is that fickle when the sun comes up every single day, the tide comes in every single day, wind blows every single day, and volcanoes erupt every.
Yeah. I think a lot of logic is missing in that too, and that is storage of energy can also be done easier. I mean, you actually have the combination of the sun and water. You already know that the sun is actually like heating the water because it's sending like energy towards the water, and you can do the same thing actually to store energy. You can heat up large sectors of water, large basins.
Well, and is
of
it
water.
or Sweden? One of them, they actually store solar energy in like these. They look like long tubes, and they're filled with a fluid that stores solar energy in it. And I think it can store it up to 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. They can do it, but they don't do it large scale yet. They should, because that is a way to
Yeah,
store it. Your energy, like you can transfer your electricity into heat, and it can actually warm the water, and that's a way for you to store it, because you can even warm it to such a level it becomes steam, and it becomes a new form of energy again. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean those things are coming. The sooner we get away from the oil industry, better. We got to quit. I mean, we pay out billions of dollars in subsidies to companies that don't need our money.
Yeah.
I think we're what? I think we almost.
Yeah, we're about that. We're over 3 hours. I don't know. Tyler, you wanted to have like a shorter episode? If he's still awake.
Tyler, wake up.
Oh, he fell asleep to the soothing.
Hey, some people got to work, right?
Yeah. Oh no, it's like a revolutionary bedtime story. Like people listen to our show and then go to bed and they're like, see, somebody's still fighting for the little guy. We're good. We might make it. We might make it yet. Like literally, I've gotten messages from people that are all like, "Thank God you guys are still on." That's why I've been posting the last free voice on the internet, because it's how it feels when you look around and you see he's co-opted. Everybody's got their own little agendas and their own shit going on, and they got shirts and build their brand and all of that crap, and we're just out here spitting truth.
Yeah.
Unfiltered, no games, no bullshit, no commercials, right? No advertising. I'm not trying to sell you nothing.
Well, that's that whole YouTube economy type thinking. You have to fit in their suck ass mode to fit. You have to find some niche that satisfies that, and then you could be on YouTube. But
No,
otherwise, forget it.
Yeah, I'm good. I remember for monetization was like everybody. I can't. Nah, I'm not into it. If you're not going to share my, the information because it's the truth, then you're damn sure not going to share it because you saw a commercial.
Yeah.
Much less act on it, or do something like you're supposed to because you're a good American. Oh no, can't have that. Well,
Yeah, and
that's the other thing. If you identify a problem and you agree with somebody like there's a problem, the next step is like logically you have to do something about it, right? But we can't have that. You can't get to that step because then you might have to actually do something.
yeah, and I think I think people are like are scared of it sometimes because you'll do a live stream, you'll do a a YouTube or anything, like, all right guys, let's do X, whatever that that is, and they're all with you all the way until you guys take fraction, and then it's all like, oh no, it's a video. I didn't want to actually stand up against the system. I didn't want to actually end veterans homelessness. I just want to talk about it. And that's not what ABB does. That's not what about. And I think that's why we don't particularly get along the live streamer YouTube crowd all the time, because, well, when we're done talking, we're down for action, and that doesn't make any sense to them. Like, what? You're not going to keep on talking, or you're not going to run for office? No, ain't going to get nothing done that way. Do you or do you not want to end veterans? All right, let's go.
Ending veterans homelessness will not be solved by bureaucracy. It'll have to be solved by an independent. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
Somebody actually forking over it.
yeah, but it's really as easy as forking over the We got less than 10,000 homeless vets in America. That means you need less than 10,000 houses. There's 350,000 distressed properties in America alone, which means I can walk.
All of the veterans.
I will buy 10,000 of your distressed properties, and they will beg for backward to give them to me.
Well, all of the veterans' homes, like I've been to one facility, and they're literally full, and the only time they have openings is when somebody dies.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the story we hear everybody. But what people don't, for all the speeches, for all the fundraising, for all the pamphlets, for all the caring and loving and all of that shit, nobody ever says, I got 10,000 empty homes. I got 10,000 veterans that need homes. This problem is finished. But if we run in a system that really depends on veterans being homeless, that's never going to work. Their goal is not to fix veterans homelessness. Their goal is to keep veterans homeless programs going. And I'm not into that. We can pool all of that money and end it. And veterans homelessness is something that I'm affected by, right? But that's not the only issue, and that's not the only issue that we can literally fix that fast. But if you depend on somebody whose entire career is based on talking about fixing veterans homelessness, that dude ain't going to fix it. He spent his entire career not fixing it. For all of the people that ran for the election there, right? We spent, what, $2 billion in the election? You could have ended veterans homelessness for $2 billion. We gave all that money to people that ain't going to do shit with it. They're going to talk about fixing issues, but it would cost less to actually fix them.
We got some breaking news from AK actually, and he says that in Yemen, where the healthcare system has been devastated by years of war, they report the first case of coronavirus.
It's probably been there for a while.
I bet you maybe it dropped it up.
Yeah, it might have. I don't know. I mean, it's so isolated from any news coming out.
Although I'm not. This is not confirmed by anybody at all. But I would bet dimes to donuts, right? That Saudi Arabia is involved in getting. I guarantee you. I would bet so much on that.
Yeah, I can imagine testing materials and things are.
I know they trade. I know gas and oil goes over the Oman border. Probably, it was only inevitable for something happen.
Oh, they drop sick people off by helicopter.
It's just that part of the world is very isolated. It's hard to get any. It's far and few in between,
We've had difficulty even getting just straight medication there, just normal medication.
No, you can't. You can't Western Union. You can't. Was it MoneyGram?
we have to literally buy it in Turkey and then smuggle it into Syria or into Yemen.
You know what? I think you can. There are other money transfer services. Like when I was in Central Asia, they different money transfer services, but they were like between Soviet countries and the countries.
Oh,
that I
there's
was
no
in.
medication in Yemen, so I mean, money transfer would do you no good. There's none to buy there. So I mean, if somebody was calling and asking for you to transfer money to Yemen, it's not going. No.
Or if you do, the bank will seize the asset.
Yeah, there's no I don't know any actually get money into Yemen. No, this is smuggled across from other countries. That's the only way to get medication into.
Hey, Captain Planet, I sent you an invite to. We have a COVID-19 Discord server. I thought you were in there already, but I posted it below the stream too. The COVID-19 for listeners. I was actually planning to go on air tomorrow, streaming from the COVID-19 server, and everyone can just join into the voice chat. We did it like a week ago too, and had like 20 people in or something, and they were like, most of them have never been on air, but it was like they had like an amazing discussion, so it is worth it. If you guys want to join, you can just jump in.
I please, it's not just what people are seeing around the world right is what the corporate media is telling them, and how we is to get real people, what's really going on the ground from where they come, without having that restrictive filter or censorship on it. So just like where Tyler's telling you exactly what's going on the West Coast, when people call station, they can give that perspective so that other people know what's going on in the world. So as they're being told everything ran, you can look and be like, I'm in. They think it's actually happening. And it takes us all getting on and doing it. I love that, the Discord server is open like that, so people can join and be part of the conversation.
Yeah, the last time there was like a nurse in from Texas, and she was explaining about the whole mask situation there, the shortages, and yeah, it was really interesting because they just join in the live chat and like instantly they're on air. They're just talking about their experiences. It's really new. I mean, we used other systems in the past where it's not this open, right? And now they can just jump in and yeah. And I was surprised by there aren't really any people doing any negativity or something. Everyone is just really concerned with this, and they're just joining in and doing their best to help out. People are very friendly to each other too, and that's really nice to see. So, just saying.
And I'll try to jump on. I'll try to jump on as well here for a little bit. Try to bring as much info as I can with me. We're going to start seeing some real spikes of numbers from the election or from the primary. It's just that it takes a couple of days for incubation. See, really, we're going to have crappy days here so just kind of be prepared for it.
Yeah. Yeah, like we had this too, like the weather started to become nice and people just all went out to parks and beaches and spending time with each other, and then yeah, it's I understand they do it, but it is you'll see you'll see it backfiring later on. A few days later, suddenly there's a spike in infections. 2 weeks, right? Yeah, the incubation time. So
yeah, and that's kind of what we're going to start seeing here in this next week. It's just people have to be ready for it and not be surprised, especially when you've got a whole other group of people see as leadership or as in charge coming out and telling you that everything's okay. It's not.
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, people might get shocked with the numbers, right? And they suddenly see these numbers rise, think like, how can this happen? Everything is fucked. But it is a backlash from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it's just the way that the incubation time, and that's dangerous things about it. Human work, you kind of go outside. I didn't burst into flames. Okay, complacent, and you don't realize the danger that you're actually in. And although now that something bad hasn't happened, got around you, much more likely to go out and make mistakes than you were when it first happened, because you saw that you didn't immediately get killed, so it's all good. Not realizing exposed 2 weeks ago. So that incubation time really, it puts us at a disadvantage just in how humans act. If there isn't an immediate negative effect, we start thinking that it's okay. And we just gotta be careful.
Yeah, and also for listeners, we will try to keep you updated about Assange in the future, of course. For now, we have to, I guess, we have to wait for the case in May, and there could be an extra case in July, as we said earlier on the show. You can listen back. We gave some updates about the court case that went on earlier this week. So there might be an extra case in July. The May case was supposed to be the big extradition thing, but it might not be it.
And when it comes to Assange, really just you've got everybody's got time. All in lockdown, right? All on our computers. We're all on. Send messages. Get on ships, Twitter accounts and Facebook pages, call, write them, hit them with everything we got while you've got to do it. And make sure that your voice is heard and that, know this is wrong. They feel that it's wrong. And when this is all over, start protesting again, right back at it. But opportunity is a time to plan, is an attempt to make your voice heard online when we've got plenty of time to do it. We could fill their Twitter accounts. Every time they say something, our immediate response, free Assange. Yeah. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. Oh, here's a picture of my lunch, free Assange.
Yeah. I think this is a very good point you're making.
Later on today, free Assange. Right? Doesn't matter what one of those leaders says, right? One of those immediate answer every time is free Assange.
Yeah. I think this is a very good point you're making, because not only are people now all at home, so they can actually do it. Everyone can now talk about this, and this flood social media with the free Assange and free press. But also, now you're being almost forced to stay at home, and maybe it gets worse, and you will be restricted further. And now maybe you start understanding how it is for a guy who is locked up for 9 years. Forced to be in an embassy, and then after that already locked up for a year in a prison, high security prison. Well, he's innocent, just like all of us. So now it becomes now it should start to matter for you if you didn't care before. Now you start feeling how it is. So.
Yeah, and this is just a taste. This is just a couple of months and 8 years of being in house arrest.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it does give some people some perspective, and then trying to get him away from. He doesn't deserve this.
Yeah, and especially in these times we need free press so much. So, yeah.
Just stay at it, brothers and sisters. We just got to stay at it, play the long game.
Guys, do we end this episode?
Yeah. I'm getting a little tired.
I think we're hitting the end there.
Okay, like I said, we do have the COVID server. I was planning to go live tomorrow, so if all of you guys, you can all join in, and we should be going live tomorrow. Maybe. I mean, I got all night tomorrow, so maybe we do like a super long show.
Send me a message. I'm going to be 3D printing all day, so I will be here.
The printing of the mask printing.
Yeah, we're doing face shields, the little adapters for the ventilator tubes, and the back of your head little straps so that the face masks don't sit on the back of your ears. Because after 12 hours shift, it is like destroying the cartilage in our ears. So we're making those little back head straps that the two. When you put on your face mask, get strap. This is a little plastic piece that sits on the back of your head, and you put those two straps over the plastic piece, and it takes all that pressure off of your ear.
Oh, yeah.
Because not only destroying their cartilage, it was causing people to have like massive headaches by the end of the day.
Yeah, and it causes you to adjust your mask all the time, and it exposes you.
Yeah. And this makes it, and this takes all that away. Mask fits right, and it just makes it sit perfect. So yeah, that's just we're pumping out as many as possibly can, as well as getting medical supplies to as many hospitals as we can. You can still get medical supplies, but it's getting harder and harder and harder. I think, as Tyler can attest to, we're having to go to darker and darker places to get.
Yeah.
The dark net.
Darknet would fine. To have to deal with like some real evil people here.
Yeah.
Like that guy that was making everybody like split his coke up fucking butt naked with face masks on. Hey man, you think I can buy a couple thousand of those masks from you?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 3D printing you guys are doing this, maybe should listeners get in touch somewhere if they have like 3D printers and stuff?
Yeah, get a hold of me. I will give you guys if you guys want files. I'm using just the Flash Forges, so I'm not using a crazy expensive giant system or anything. These are home systems anywhere. If I'll give you all of the files you'll need. Changes in printing parameters so that you print them internally. To start with, it took us about 6 hours to print one face mask, and I've managed to get that time down to about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay. I know a guy who could actually use your help with that too, because he's in the COVID server and he's also printing masks, and he says he only does like 20 a week or something because it takes super long for him.
It takes about when I the first batch that I did took me about 5 hours a piece to do. So I just I'd set up the machine and you pretty much walked away for 5 hours. And in going through, I'll give you guys the list of parameters, and we pretty much set it to the limit. I've taken out some of the filler parts that we had some spaces in, so that it can print them faster in one go. As well as the the thickness and parameters. I'll you guys I give all that information is 100% free. You can print it from your house same way I do.
Okay, you should really join that COVID server. Now you already have the invite, because that guy is in there and he will really appreciate it if you help him out a bit.
Yeah, groovy. Now any information I have is his. Free to the people. Build everything that we can.
Okay.
We need to push the ABB PSA and remind everybody to spay and neuter all politicians.
Dun 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 dun.